If you've ever been really excited for hoodie weather, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We made it all the way to the weekend here, almost. It's Friday, and it's almost Mice Down, Drinks Up time. One more day to get through. We got Mark Putrino today. We got Anne-Marie today. We got some more news and some more earnings from last night, and we got a market that is trading higher here today. In fact, if we opened right here, we would open at a new all-time high. So we'll see if we end up breaking out here today or breaking down. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for October 24th, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. We did it. We made it to the end of the weekend. We made it till the end of the week, or the end of the work week anyway. We got one more day until we get to the weekend, but really good stuff. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Brian today is first. I can actually see your comment. Good morning, Brian. I'm sorry for your loss, but welcome back. You were first here today. Early bird gets the worm. Cad Monkey, good morning. No, YouTube has switched back to the username. YouTube, so we don't have everyone's name. We just see their username again. What a bummer. YouTube, get it together. Get it together. Anyway, we'll make do no matter what. Good morning, producer. EKS, good morning. How about that Intel pop on that earnings? Woo, we're going to cover that here. No question about it. Zach, good morning. Welcome back. The Sheet, your leader is a fraud. Sour grapes, sounds like to me, but welcome. Hopefully you have a better Friday here. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome back, buddy. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Cam, good morning. Dave, good morning. I think that's Big Dave. Boy, these usernames are really throwing me off. We got another degree of difficulty here today. That's okay. I think that's Graph. Not really sure. Good morning. Welcome back. Ezra, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Big Bees. Good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Neville, good morning. Cam, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Buglog, good morning. There we go. Just passing through. Oh, look, the Twitter username's unaffected. Definitely a YouTube issue, without a doubt. Whisk, good morning. It's good to see you again. Palantir Queen. All right, that's an awesome name. Welcome. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. Alex, good morning. Good to see you again. Dirkus, it's good as always. Nice hoodie, Ryan. Thank you. I love hoodies, by the way. Probably my single favorite piece of clothing is a really nice hoodie, a nice, comfortable hoodie. Darkside Hemi, good morning. Welcome back. Eastern, good morning. Welcome back. Lauren, Florida, good morning. Welcome back. Brandy, good morning. Workstation, good morning. Arhan, good morning. Michael Lombardo, good morning. Welcome back. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Dugan, good morning. Love Hope, good morning. Blessed by the Best. I like that. I like that. Good morning. Welcome back. Rooster, good morning. Zach, good morning. Gonzo, good morning. Cat Markets, good morning. All the way from South Africa. Let's go. Let's go. What time is it in South Africa? It's got to be like middle of the day there. Anyway, Edward, good morning. Welcome back. Lion, good morning. Lion, it's not anything that you did. It looks like this is a universal YouTube error. It's nothing specific to you. Dan, good morning. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. Frank, good morning. Good to see you. Robot to Trade. Let's go. I think that's Zoo. Good morning. Welcome back. Parvez, good morning. It's good to see you again. And Zanivaz, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Good morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at our stock market. All right, futures are green pretty much across the board here ahead of Friday's open for October 24th. S&P futures up 0.34%, Dow futures up 0.18%, and the NASDAQ up 0.49% ahead of the open. Let's go ahead and take a look at some cues from last session. Wasn't a whole lot. Based on the sector performance data from Wednesday, the market saw broad gains with all of the sectors up. Is this the Ryan producer? Yeah, it is. The U.S. futures advanced on Friday following Thursday's positive move. Futures of major benchmark indices did end up higher, and actually they're set to open higher here today as well. Amid the delay caused by the impending government shutdown, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is scheduled to release the September Consumer Price Index, or CPI, report today. Meanwhile, trade relations with America's closest ally cratered, with President Trump stating on social media, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated over a dispute involving an anti-tariff advertisement by Canada. They had altered a Ronald Reagan post without permission and cut out important parts of that. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.01%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.49%. And we do have a lot of individual stocks in focus, and the biggest one here is Intel. That made a huge move yesterday after hours, after it reported earnings. Intel jumped 8.44% in the pre-market on Friday after reporting stronger than expected financial results for the third quarter. Its revenue of $13.65 billion beat analyst estimates of $13.14 billion, and earnings of 23 cents per share beat estimates of 1 cent per share. So Intel actually having a pretty good morning here today as well. It's actually holding on to 40 right now, 40.81. It was a little bit higher earlier today. High of the pre-market this morning looks like it was about 41.5. So pretty good. Pretty good move there for Intel. Ford is the second stock on the list here. Ford rose 2.51% after reporting better than expected financial results with a quarterly earnings of 45 cents per share, which beat the analyst estimate of 36 cents and revenue of 47.18 billion. That was above the 43.07 billion estimate. Deckers Outdoors, the UGG parent company. It is UGG season, as we were reminded a number of times. Deckers dropped 10.9% despite better than expected financial results, and it issued disappointing full-year sales guidance. The thing about Deckers actually is that's at a pretty decent support level right now that it's trading down here. I've got it at about $90. Actually, it looks like maybe we ended up breaking that. Yeah, 94 was the support level yesterday. In the after hours, it ended up moving beneath that here today. We'll see how Deckers does. Perhaps there's a bounce in store. Perhaps there's some more downside. So we'll see there on ticker DECK. Next is Plug Power. This is one that you folks look at a lot, or that we talk about quite a bit here. Ticker PLUG. That advanced 4.51% after it announced a milestone deployment of its GenDrive hydrogen fuel systems and Gen Fuel infrastructure at Floor & Decor, ticker FND. The distribution center in Frederickson, Washington. Floor & Decor, awesome store, by the way. Procter & Gamble rounds out our list here. That's ticker PG. Shares were 0.39% higher as it is scheduled to report earnings before the opening bell. It's done that now, had an adjusted EPS of $1.99, which beat the $1.90 estimate, and sales of $22.386 billion beat the estimate of $22.175 billion. So a beat on the top and the bottom line for Procter & Gamble, and that stock, I believe, was still holding higher. Oh, yeah, 157.78, your high print stock closed at 151.15 yesterday. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts, but first I want to do the SPY chart here because, as mentioned, it does look like we might be opening at a new all-time high here. Let's go ahead and load it up. Here we go. The all-time high, yeah, that's all right, producer. That was totally my fault. The all-time high here is going to be 673.94. Right now in the pre-market, we are sitting at 674.25. So if we were to open right here, it would be a new all-time high. There's been several of these where we've opened at or with a new all-time high, and then the market has immediately moved down. So as far as the trading goes here today, I think it's probably best if we just wait out at least the first couple of minutes. Maybe there's a particular mover that's moving around in the pre-market that you want to go after, but for the regular market here, let's see if we get a pull off that open. We are breaking out of the range too. Remember, the sideways range that we've kind of been in here, with the exception of the move down to the 50, has been between 667 and 673. We are staying sideways categories in there, and it looks like today maybe we'll break out from that. It'll be interesting if we break out, back test, and then move higher. That actually sets up for a up move next week. We'll see if we get that. And remember, we have the Fed decision next week. Now, we are getting the delayed data here today, so we'll see if that has an impact on the market. The way I look at it, though, I think we're pretty much getting the cut next week. So I don't know how the market's going to react to that print. It does feel like the cut is already priced in, and the market's just kind of waiting for it. So we'll see how it shakes out here. We'll see what that data actually is. Good morning, Unpopular Truth. Good to see you again. Kayla, good morning as well. Okay, let's now go take a look at some insights from analysts. Let me go back to that here real quick. Well, the artificial intelligence boom has captured headlines and fueled much of the S&P 500's index rally this year. The resulting infrastructure demands are creating major opportunities in periphery plays, according to a Wells Fargo Investment Institute commentary. Scott Wren, senior global market strategist, wrote that long before AI, quote, the U.S. power grid was in dire need of upgrading in many, if not most, areas of the country, end quote. The emergence of power-intensive AI data centers has been a game changer, forcing massive grid updates that were already necessary. Wren argues that investors should look just beyond the technology sector. This is a really good time to remind you folks that when EVs were really kind of busting on the scene, they were talking about forcing EVs on people and really making the switch by a given date, there was a lot of concern about the grid and how those electrical chargers were going to hold up. Now it looks like the data center angle is an even bigger issue, so hopefully that forces that issue being addressed. Think there's probably going to be some plays, some picks and shovels or thing behind the thing trades for that. That's definitely something that we should watch going into next year, I would say. Scott goes on to say, quote, that means we believe our favorite sectors beyond just technology, such as industrials and utilities, are also set to benefit, end quote. These sectors are essentially for building the data centers, manufacturing components, upgrading the grid, and providing electricity. So it looks like we're not the only ones that are going to be looking for that. Citing estimates that $3 will be spent on supporting infrastructure and $1 spent on AI, or excuse me, $3 will be spent on supporting infrastructure for every $1 spent on AI. Easy for me to say. Wren believes that this is just the beginning, and we are now only in the early innings of what we view is a longer-term secular trend. Now, if that's the case, a lot of the stats that we've been talking about with the bull market and this going higher, that is likely going to happen if this is how this is going to all pan out. We'll see. The delayed headline and consumer price index data for September will be released at 8:30, and we will be watching that for sure. Day Trader says, I work on substations specifically, and it's insane how busy we are. Each major data center and solar farm needs a new substation to connect to the grid, transmission lines too. Day Trader, you are in a unique position to tell us what companies are required for that, and if any of them are public. If they're all private, probably need to do some digging into that. But I'd be very, very curious about what companies are connected to what you're just saying here, because you're not alone in that. You're telling us boots on the ground that it's busy. We got analysts saying that this is going to be a big thing that might lead to a secular trend. Definitely going to be some opportunity in there. So go ahead and share that. Go ahead and share that whenever you can. All right, let's keep moving on here. Let's talk about Intel next. Intel stock surges on the Q3 earnings beat as AI accelerates the demand for compute. We already kind of knew that. Intel reported third quarter revenue of $13.65 billion. That beat the analyst estimates of $13.14 billion. The chipmaker reported third quarter adjusted earnings of 23 cents per share, beating the estimate of 1 cent per share. That was according to Benzinga Pro. Total revenue in the third quarter was up 3% on a year-over-year basis. And here's a breakdown of the different categories for said revenue. Client computing group, that was $8.5 billion, up 5% year-over-year. Data center and AI, $4.1 billion. That was actually down 1% year-over-year. All other, $1 billion, up 3% year-over-year. Total Intel products, $12.7 billion, up 3% year-over-year. And the Intel Foundry business, $4.2 billion, down 2% year over year. Intel generated $2.5 billion in cash from operations during the quarter and ended the period with approximately $11.14 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Quote, AI is accelerating demand for compute and creating attractive opportunities across our portfolio, including our core x86 platforms, new efforts in purpose-built ASIC and accelerators and foundry services, end quote. That came from Lip-Bu Tan, Intel's CEO. Intel's industry-leading CPU and ecosystem, along with our unique U.S.-based leading-edge logic manufacturing and research and development position us well to capitalize on these trends over time. Intel sees fourth quarter revenue in the range of $12.8 billion to $13.8 billion versus estimates of $13.37 billion. That is a LEET estimate there for those that speak LEET speak. The company anticipates fourth quarter adjusted earnings of 8 cents per share, in line with estimates. They also had their conference call. Now, there's another thing here regarding Lip-Bu Tan. On Thursday, executives detailed how the company plans to deploy its improved cash position and liquidity following the major investments from the Trump administration, NVIDIA, SoftBank, and others. During Intel's third quarter earnings call, Executive VP and CFO David Zizner explained that when CEO Lip-Bu Tan joined the company, he was really, quote, upset, end quote, about Intel's balance sheet. The company has already made progress, including reducing $4.3 billion in debt this quarter, with additional maturities set to be repaid in the future. Zizner said, quote, as we think about this cash, our first focus is to deliver, end quote, adding that, quote, when Lip-Bu came in, he was really upset about the balance sheet. So we've done a lot of work to improve that for him, end quote. And it's also worth noting they improved that for shareholders as well, but I digress. Intel is approaching capital expenditures with caution, focusing on disciplined investments tied directly to consumer demand. Quote, Lip-Bu has been very direct with us on this. He wants to see whites of the eyes of the customer so that we can believe in that demand. And if the demand exists, of course, we will amp up the CapEx as necessary, end quote. Intel projects around $18 billion in gross capital investments from 2025, with total CapEx expected to exceed $27 billion, up from $17 billion in 2024. On operational expenditures, Intel plans to maintain $16 billion of investment next year while constantly reviewing how to allocate those funds to maximize growth and returns. Zizner added, quote, we want to be pretty disciplined about our OpEx as a percent of revenue and drive leverage, but we do see opportunities to make investments that can, I think, deliver great returns for shareholders, and we're not afraid to do that either. Guarantee they like hearing this. Guarantee investors like hearing this. These moves come as Intel benefits from a strengthened cash position. Excuse me, sorry about that. Actually, let me have a sip of tea here. By the way, for any of you that on the fence or maybe don't drink a lot of tea, you can change your life today by starting to drink tea every single day. There's a ton of it. Don't add sugar to it. A bunch of different flavors, a lot of different health benefits, including allowing me to talk without a frog in my throat. The move comes as Intel benefits from a strengthened cash position following investments from the U.S. government, NVIDIA, SoftBank, and others. Intel reported third quarter revenue of $13.65 billion, surpassing analyst expectations of $13.1 billion. Chipmaker posted adjusted earnings of 23 cents per share, well above the 1 cent per share estimate. Looking ahead, Intel expects fourth quarter revenue to be between $12.8 and $13.8 billion, compared with analyst estimates of $13.37 billion. The company forecasts fourth quarter adjusted earnings of 8 cents per share, which is in line with expectations. So Cam's asking what kind. Today, I actually have mullein tea, which is supposed to help clear out your lungs and give you better deep breathing. I discovered that when I do this in the fall, when the weather changes to cold, it actually gives me noticeably better lung capacity. So when I go work out, run or walk or jog or whatever, it feels easier. And it also tastes really good. A little bit of honey in there. Really good for the throat as well. All right, next story here is the one that's got everyone up in a tussy. President Trump has decided to terminate all ongoing trade discussions with Canada over an advertisement critical of the tariffs that he has imposed on the nation. The ad, sponsored by the government of Canada's province of Ontario, quoted former U.S. President Ronald Reagan saying, quote, tariffs hurt every American, end quote. Trump took to his Truth Social account late Thursday to say that Canada had fraudulently employed a fake ad with Reagan speaking against tariffs. He accused Canada of egregious behavior aimed at influencing the U.S. Supreme Court decision. Quote, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated, end quote. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney did not immediately respond to our reach out for a comment. We will bring that to you if we get anything. If you want to go through the actual posts themselves, here they are in the story that we just posted there. Now, why did this all happen? Well, Canada very selectively clipped it. The ad that triggered Trump about the abrupt decision to cancel the talks features a 1-minute clip from President Reagan from an April 1987 radio address. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute stated that the ad distorted and, quote, selective audio, end quote, of Reagan's address that the government of Ontario neither requested nor received authorization to use or alter the remarks. The organization said it's reviewing its, quote, legal options over the ad. Awesome here on the story that I just threw in there. You actually get to hear the entire ad, not the one that was deceptively edited by the Canadian government to try and bolster their point. And you can watch that here in full right from the link from the article here. In his April 1987 radio address ahead of the upcoming trade talks with Japan, Reagan spoke against protectionism, warning that tariffs would, quote, hurt every American worker and consumer, end quote. However, in the initial part of the address, Reagan also mentioned that he had imposed new duties on Japanese goods due to their, quote, inability to enforce their trade agreement, end quote, on semiconductors. He mentioned, quote, I loathe, end quote, to impose such tariffs, but stated that he had clear evidence that the Japanese companies were engaging in unfair trade practices, that violated that agreement. Does that sound familiar, folks? Canada looks to diversify amid a tariff strain. The termination of trade talks comes on the heels of a Globe and Mail report on Tuesday that the long-discussed U.S.-Canada trade deal could be announced at the APEC summit in South Korea later this month. The deal would have Canada accept export quotas on steel in return for lower U.S. tariffs. Critical minerals are not part of this talk. Canada is facing significant economic challenges due to the U.S. tariffs. Prime Minister Carney also set a goal, for Canada to double its non-U.S. exports over the next decade, emphasizing the need to diversify trade partners amid the impact of the American tariffs on Canadian industries. Canada has been pursuing secular trade deals with the U.S., particularly for steel, as crucial for its economic stability and ongoing tariffs. Now, next story here. How much time do I have? We don't have Mark yet. Perfect. Got plenty of time. Next story here is about Apple. So what we're going to do first is actually go back to the chart. Take a look at Apple. This stock has been awesome. Big time shout out again to Tenzin, who has done an absolutely fantastic job trading this. The last time that we talked about this as a group communal trade was a breakout from the 215 area. We had 233 identified as a major upside target. It actually took a couple of weeks to get through that. Once it did, it kept running. And you can see that this is actually ran up to the trend line, a long-term trend line that originates in January. It looks like January 4th of 2023. So we have a long-term trend line here. It looks like Apple's going to test this. The other thing is it looks like we set a new all-time high here for Apple. Would love to see if this has got enough to maybe break out above that and give us more of a run here. And I'll tell you, I know we talked about this story a little bit earlier. We talked about this with David Green yesterday. This is one that Kramer absolutely got right. Apple is definitely one of those stocks, probably best to just sit and own it as opposed to trading it. If you absolutely must trade it, trading around the core position really seems to be the best idea. Stock pays a dividend, got a great balance sheet, extremely strong company. I know there's a lot of back and forth with Tim Cook and how good is he and all of that, but the stock performance doesn't lie. This thing's been an absolute monster. Absolute monster. Here's the story for this. Apple has started shipping American-made servers from its Houston facility earlier than planned, which aligns with President Trump's push to expand U.S. manufacturing. On Thursday, Apple CEO Tim Cook announced on X that the company's American-made advanced servers are now shipping from our new Houston facility to Apple data centers. Quote, these servers will help power private cloud compute and Apple Intelligence as part of our $600 billion U.S. commitment. For anyone that wants to go through Tim Cook's tweet thread, they're all included here in the story. I'll drop that here in the chat for you guys. You can go through that on your own time. Originally slated to open in 2026, Apple's 250,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Houston is now ahead of schedule. The move follows Trump's intensified efforts to bring high-tech production back to U.S. soil. I'm old enough to remember when people said that was impossible. LOL. Trump has been pushing Apple to assemble its iPhones in the U.S. However, Cook has maintained that full-scale iPhone assembly would remain overseas, at least for now. Even as Apple accelerates its U.S. production, China remains a key growth market. Earlier this month, Cook traveled to China, pledging to increase investment in the country. During his visit, he met with Li Liqiang, China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, who promised to create a favorable environment for global tech firms like Apple. China remains a critical market for Apple, functioning as both a major manufacturing base and contributing roughly 17% to the company's annual revenue. According to Counterpoint Research, Apple's iPhone 17 series has outperformed the iPhone 16 lineup by 14% in the first 10 days of sales across China and the US. The base model has been a standout driver, with sales nearly doubling in China thanks to upgraded features and competitive pricing. Now, I've got another story here about Apple that I want to go to. I kind of want to link them together here. This is about the iPhone Air production cut. So we just talked about the base model there. We had got a story, I think this was a couple weeks ago by now. We got a story that the Pro Max, I think it is, forgive me because I use an Android device and I might not be getting the lingo exactly right, but I believe it was the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which has the highest margins, actually saw the greatest demand. That would be really good for the stock price when the report comes around. We'll see how that all shakes out. But in any case here, there's weak demand for the iPhone Air outside of China. Production orders for the iPhone Air have been cut nearly to end of production levels, despite it only being available in China last week due to weak demand in other markets. This was reported by the Nikkei Asia. The iPhone Air was initially expected to represent 10 to 15% of new iPhone production this year, but the production orders from November onward will drop to less than 10% of September's volume, according to the report. The model is seen as strategically paving the way for the first foldable iPhone. I still don't get this one. The foldable phone is not for me. Give me the powerful phone in this form factor, whatever it may be, and whatever brand it may be, and that's the one that I want. Palantir Queen here says, just bought the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Palantir Queen, give it to me. Do you like it? Is it what model are you coming from? Is it a noticeable step up from what you came from? Are you happy with your purchase overall? Do you have buyer's regret? I know for me, I can't even recall the last time that I bought a new phone. I mean, going all the way back to even like the BlackBerry days, I can't even recall a time where I bought a new phone where I wasn't like, this is a major step up from the previous one. I know as we've got to some of these recent models, a lot of people say, well, just the camera's a little bit better, but nothing's really different. Not been my experience with Android, which has way more of a customizable system. But again, I'm kind of in the minority there, as it really does seem like most people still use iPhones. Palantir Queen answering the question. I appreciate you. The camera is amazing. I came from the 15 Pro Max and I am happy with it. Boy, you hit all of that there. That's great. And you know what? You are on the same update cycle I am. I don't update my phone every year. Rather, I update it every other year. And I have very similar, reaction to the new purchases you just described. It's pretty much the same every time I do that. Sorry for digressing there. The demand for the iPhone 17 and the iPhone 17 Pro has surpassed expectations. So again, it's only this iPhone Air model that this story applies to. This leads Apple to boost production order for these models as per Nikkei. Despite the ongoing tariff war and slow smartphone market, Apple plans to keep its iPhone 17 production forecast unchanged at 85 to 90 million units. Apple did not immediately respond. I don't know if they are going to respond to this one, to be quite honest with you. The iPhone 17 models have outsold the iPhone 16 models by 14% in the US and China during the first 10 days of the launch. That's according to Counterpoint Research. The flagship series has driven demand in China because it features, a faster chip, better display, larger storage, and upgraded selfie camera at the same price as the 16. This has resulted in overall sellouts to rise. I'm sorry, folks. To rise by nearly 33%, with consumer demand for the base model nearly doubling compared to the iPhone 16. Let me tell you something. If the demand for this new phone is much higher than the 16 was last year, I absolutely see Apple trading above 300 next year at some point. I can't tell you when, especially if we get a market pullback early in the year, which some people are forecasting. I don't know if I'm there yet. But I'm telling you, if this phone really puts out better, if this phone really has better order and sales numbers than the 16, this is going higher. Looks like the data print is out here. S&P futures pumping to the highs here. ES up now 0.77%. Boy, that's a big power candle there. Let me just finish this off. I got one more thing to mention here. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives attributes the strong iPhone demand globally and further improvement in China's market as a key theme for Apple's growth. Loop Capital analyst Ananda Barua, hope I pronounced that one right, who boosted Apple stock from hold to buy, sees the start of a multi-year iPhone growth cycle, expecting demand to rise through 2027. Let me go back to Pro here. And let me go to the page that has all the data prints in here. U.S. CPI year over year for September, 3% versus the 3.1% estimate. And the CPI month over month for September, 0.3 versus the 0.4 estimate. Both of those numbers coming in lower than the expectation. Market going north. NASDAQ leading the way higher here. Big pop in the NQ. That's up over 1% here in the pre-market. So there we go. And then there, core CPI month over month for September, 0.2 versus the 0.3 expected. That is a good print all the way across the board. I would imagine there are some tears out there, but that's okay. All right, it's time now for Mark Putrino. Let's go ahead and give a warm welcome for Mark. We got him back this week. Mark, good morning. Happy Friday, boss.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing really good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Just enjoying watching the market go up every day.
Yeah, me too.
Cool.
I'm definitely enjoying this. We'll see what we got on deck here for today, but so far so good. Feels pretty good. Thanks for joining us again. Do you want to share your screen? Do you have something for us here today? There we go.
All right. All right. So one of the things I've been watching, and for those option traders out there, I've found this to be a pretty effective strategy, is watching these stocks go into these short squeezes, and then when they start to come apart, catching them on the downside. So look at this. So here's this Beyond Meat, right? This thing was up 700% in 4 days or 3 days. And now look at where it is now. It's all the way back down here. So when these things go into these short squeezes, when they're done, see, the short squeeze happens when people who want to short, they borrow the shares from someone and they sell them, and their intention is to buy them back in the future at a lower price, return the shares to whoever they borrowed them from, and to keep the difference. So when the stock starts going higher, they start losing money because they might have to buy back the shares at a higher price than they sold them at. So you get this bidding war, whatever kind of catalyst there was some news about Walmart that got this thing going. And then the shorts all started to kind of freak out. I mean, not all of them, but they cut ahead of each other and they get really aggressive. And then the climax comes when the people who loaned out the shares to the short sellers see how high the price has gone and they decide that they want to sell. And then those short sellers are forced to go out and buy at wherever the market is. They have no choice. If not, the brokerage firm will just buy it. And then when all that's done, these things just come right back to earth. So there was this one. There's one in Plug Power. Kind of interesting. This is another highly shorted stock. So when you go in, when you see something like this, it's either, if there's no news behind it, it's either a short squeeze or someone somewhere is pumping it up in a chat room. And either way, the odds are really good that in those situations, we're just going to come right back to earth.
You know what's great about this, Mark, is that this did start just as you said. It just kind of started trading up, but then it actually had news. It had news that they're going to have a deal with Walmart and they're going to have Beyond Meat in 2,000 stores. Now, unfortunately, this was recycled news from years ago, so I don't know how great that news actually was, but that absolutely drove it for another leg higher on that day. But nonetheless, still coming back to the earth.
That was recycled news?
Yeah.
Really?
They've said before that they wanted to launch or sell their products in a whole bunch of stores. I can't remember when it was. Someone in here actually had the date when we first started talking about it. One of you folks in the chat had the actual date. But yeah, they were supposed to have it in a whole bunch of stores. They didn't. Now they're doing that again here with Walmart. That's causing Beyond Meat to move.
Well, I guess it's not as good as being in Costco. But,
well, few things are, Mark, as it turns out.
How about this NBA scandal? Wow.
So that yesterday, that news broke while we were on the show yesterday. There were several people mentioning headlines here in the chat. My producer was helping me out with it too. I could not believe what I was reading. I literally could not believe what I was reading. And I was like, before when we had seen some of these scandals, and we talked about this on Happy Hour, and I'll tie this back to stocks here real quick. Mark, I'd actually like to get your opinion on this. One of the things that we were discussing yesterday is it feels to me like from what I've read here that there's going to be another shoe to drop, at least one more, right? They got a whole bunch of people. There's multiple investigations here. There's people giving inside information that help others with prop bets. Then we have this poker scandal that's tied to La Cosa Nostra and the mafia, which is just really, really bad news. To me, I'm almost wondering if this gets much worse, might we have major brands kind of either pull out or not be happy with what they see?
Huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm almost wondering, I don't think Nike would be one of those. Nike's been so tied to the NBA for so long. I don't really think that they would do anything. But I'm almost wondering if there are other brands of public companies that might say, you know what, this is too much for us. I don't know if that's the case. I'm literally just speculating. I've placed no trade on this, but this is definitely something that I'm thinking about. And then the other aspect of this is one that you're pulling up here. What does this mean for sports bettors and some of the sports betting companies? Now, I have a thesis on this that might be a little bit contrarian. I'd like to hear what you think on all of this. This is the last thing I'll say. To me, it actually seems like the sports books here are not going to be negatively affected. Walk with me on this one, because it seems like they are the ones that are saying, hey, we're detecting abnormal betting. We're reporting that to the authorities. The authorities are contacting the NBA or whoever they need to contact. They're going to do their own investigation. To me, it sure seems like the sports betting companies are using their technology to identify things that are shady, let's put it that way, and then are properly reporting those things.
Yeah, and there's going to be all kinds of lawsuits going on too. You know what I mean? Like people that lost money betting are going to be suing whoever they can to try to get some of it back.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that happens. Kind of a similar thing happens with brokerage firms a lot of times. Someone will place a trade and they'll lose a lot of money, and then they'll sue the brokerage firm and say, hey, you shouldn't have let me make that trade. And the brokerage firm will usually just pay them a little something just to go away because they're, it's a hindrance. It's like they say you can sue a ham sandwich. So, yeah, so a lot of times, like when all that stuff, if you remember, which I'm sure you do, a couple of years back with GameStop was going on and Robinhood was like turning it off so people couldn't trade and so forth. Robinhood was basically doing that to protect people from themselves, because a lot of those people were going to lose a lot of money. So they should be glad that they weren't able to trade it, because, that's the stock collapse and all the stuff, like they were fighting against the market makers and all that was like some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my 30 years on Wall Street here. But all that being said, let's see. Here are my articles. I do one a day during the week. So, I just try to teach people a little bit with each article with some basic technical analysis. So, we talked about Big Bear yesterday. I talked about the short squeeze there. Mm-hmm. But I saw an interesting thing in this Bitfarms here. What is the symbol for this thing, Bitfarms?
Let me look.
I'm telling you, man, since spell check has come along, it's like I've forgotten.
Dude, that's not even a joke. BITF is your ticker. That's
right.
Not even a joke. I used to be a pretty good speller, and like sometimes like I'm looking at words, I'm like, you know how to spell this, dummy. Just figure it out. I will sometimes purposely not use spell check just to like remind myself, like, hey, you used to have to do this on your own. Get it together.
Yeah. It's crazy, all this stuff that's going on out there. But anyway, this is something that people might want to think about for an exit strategy. A lot of people buy stuff and they have no idea how they're going to get out of it. And if you don't have a plan and you don't have a set of rules or parameters that you follow, you're just guessing. And when you guess, you get emotional, and emotions are why people lose money. So if you get in a situation like this where you have a stock that's just kind of going vertical, that gets super double, super overbought, well, a potential exit strategy should be, or could be, if we reverse back below this Bollinger Band here. So this red line is called the Bollinger Band. It's 2 standard deviations above the 20-day moving average. So according to statistics, 95% of trading should be within 2 standard deviations of the mean. So if we exceed this on the upside or on the downside, not this is the upper band, the downside band I don't have shown here, but this would be the downside band. So if we exceed this one way or the other, it's considered overbought or oversold, and that draws sellers into the market. So it's almost a way of having like a stop out, but instead of using a price or a percentage, you're using a momentum indicator. And another thing you could look at, kind of the same idea, is if you have something that's really overbought that's going vertical, you could watch the RSI indicator, and it's the same idea. When we get that reversal, when it starts to go down, that could be your sell trigger. Now, if you had followed this, you literally would have sold on the top day over here. So a lot of these, the drone stocks and the quantum stocks and the various other things that have gone like straight up, think about how you're going to get out, because it's easy to buy something. It's like you have a new friend, it's exciting, but it's hard to sell things because people don't want to take losses, obviously. And when something is done really well for a person, a lot of times they get sentimentality bias and they just fall in love with the stock and they get emotional, and then they can't sell it. And then the thing just goes right back down. So they, at one point, they have a huge profit, and then it goes right back down and they end up with a loss because they didn't sell it. And I've seen that in pretty much every bubble that's gone on, I'm sure, since the beginning. But over, we had the cannabis bubble, we had the Reddit bubble. You get these people that buy these stocks at, like, say 10, and it goes to 100, and it's the first stock they've ever bought, and they're like, wow, this is so easy, and they fall in love with it, and they say, all right, well, if it goes to 90, I'm going to get out of it. And then it goes to 90, and they say, well, I'm still up 9 times. If it goes to 80, I'm going to get out of it. And then they just ride it all the way back down, and they end up with a loss. And it's hard to believe, but I've seen that happen a bunch of times. So anyway, just remember, everyone, think about how it's not what you buy, it's how you sell.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark, that's actually a really good piece of advice. One of the things that we've been talking about on the drone stock that I have been in for a while now, ONDS, this thing has moved from like 60 cents up to $11 and pulled back to a 6 handle. The way that I dealt with this is I just simply sold in chunks on the way up, right? I don't know where the stock's going to stop. I have some ideas on where it's going to stop. I have some ideas on where I'd like to sell it, but I don't know for sure. I don't know what the market's going to do ahead of time. So to me, prudent risk management means when you see this thing continuing to climb, especially when your cost basis is under $1 and you're at a 10x, it is prudent to trim that position. Trimmed it multiple times, and in doing so, the pullback that we just saw here was pretty much ado about nothing. Now where we sit is it's basically trying to straddle its 50-day moving average. So I think if it holds here, we might have another chance to move to the upside. And obviously today's news, it's kind of turning around here in the pre-market. So we're actually looking at 766 here in the pre-market on a bounce off the 50-day.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that you kind of just covered that. We talk about scaling all the time. That was a really good lesson on that. Scale in and scale out. EKS, you got it. You got it. Here, I sold all but 150 of my Ondas. That's how it's done. Sell partial. If you think the stock's going to go higher, sell partial. Keep some on. Make sure you put your gains in your pocket. Make sure you put the money back in your pocket so the market doesn't take it back from you.
This is an interesting thing here, this candlestick pattern here. Now, a lot of people, in my opinion, or from what I've seen, when it comes to the patterns and the technical analysis patterns, they get too caught up with, it's this, it's that, but they don't think about the price action that is going on that makes these patterns form. So this here is what you call the bearish engulfing pattern, or you would in candlestick lingo. In Western lingo, you would call it an outside reversal day. But just think about this. Let's put this into the old football analogy. So the blue team is moving the ball up the field here, right? And then on this particular day, October 9th, in the morning, you would have said, gee, this is going to be another up day here because it opened higher than the prior day's close. During the course of the day, it got all the way up to there. So these candlesticks can tell a story. It opened there, got all the way up to there, and it closed down there. So that tells us that somewhere over the course of the day, there was a big intraday reversal. Sometimes things, when the leadership changes, that's essentially what we're looking for. When the leadership changes in a market from bears to bulls or vice versa, sometimes it can appear as something that looks like a reversal pattern. So there we had the outside reversal day, or the bearish engulfing pattern. Here in Johnson & Johnson, this is an example of the slow change of leadership versus the one-day change. This is the old rounded bottom. So the red team is bringing the ball down here, and then all of a sudden the blue team kind of just makes a slow turn, versus when you look at something like what we were just looking at here, the leadership changes just in one session. So it's like the blue team is bringing the ball up the field here, and then it's 4th and 1 on the goal line. The blue team goes for it, but the red team makes a stand, and all of a sudden everything reverses and all the momentum starts to go the other way. So it's not important to it's not important to be like, oh, this is this pattern or this is that pattern. No one's going to reward you for that. But if you understand the price action that goes on and what causes the patterns to form, it makes your life a lot easier. So right here, we have your classic bullish engulfing, ascending triangle, right? So what this shows you is that the sellers are kind of hanging out around here. The sellers are basically like, all right, well, if the buyers come, I'll sell. If not, I don't really care. I won't. Now, at the same time, as time is going by here, notice how we're getting these higher lows. That means the buyers are coming in at higher prices. When time goes by, the sellers are complacent and passive. The buyers are aggressive. When you get a valley that forms at a higher level than the prior valley, that's the higher low. And as a matter of fact, there was a big one of these over in the gold market before gold made that big move higher there. So here's another one. An interesting thing about these charts is that you see the same patterns on charts of all kinds of different securities, regardless of what they are, because the charts are a reflection of human behavior and psychology. And regardless of what people are trading, whether it's gold or whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's a stock, you get the same emotions. And if you go back, a lot of people will say, well, oh, it's algorithms or it's this or it's that. But if you go back into the early 1900s here, like I'm going to do, you can see the same patterns formed back then. So there were no computers or algorithms back here, but you get the same stuff that we get now. Because of buyer's remorse, you get resistance at a former resistance level. People buy here, and when the price goes lower, they regret buying, and they say, gee, if it gets back to my level and I can get out at break even, I will. So we get all the way back up to there. Remorseful buyers placing sell orders creates resistance at the level that had been resistance before. On the downside, you can even see the same thing here. So whatever happened in May of 1899, people who bought here were selling to get out in July of 1901. So here you see support at a former support level, right? People sell down here, and then when the price goes higher, they regret selling, and they say, if this ever gets back to my level, I'm going to buy my shares back at the same price that I sold them at. So it's really kind of astonishing, if you ask me, about how you get this precision in these markets that are so big. I mean, think of how big the gold market is. Or if we go over and we look at the oil market, there was some news in the oil market.
The gold market was around before the stock market was.
Yeah. Yep, that is true. As far as I know, the markets first started in ancient Egypt with farmers hedging, using futures to hedge, just like they do now.
Just wait till they find out more about Gobekli Tepe, and we'll see how far back that goes. Sorry, had to throw that in there. Mark, I do have a really quick question here from the chat that I think is a good one.
Sure.
Maybe we can do kind of a lesson on this. How can you tell it's a reversal and not just a pullback?
How can you tell it's a reversal and not just a pullback?
Yeah. So when you see like a stock move down, how do you know that this is actually a trend reversal as opposed to it's just a temporary pullback before we resume the intact trend?
Well, I think the key is to wait for the reversal to start before you jump in, right? So like here, you wouldn't want to buy it right here. And this is oil, by the way. You wouldn't want to buy it right here. You'd want to buy it on the way up, because just because something is oversold and gets to support doesn't mean that that support can't break. So a lot of traders, or a lot of newer traders, try to get obsessed with getting the exact top or the exact bottom on something, and it can't be done. So you should just kind of put that out of your mind. It's like playing golf, right? You're not gonna get a hole in one on every hole, right? I mean, unless you're the president of North
Can I
Korea.
just get
But
one? I mean, saying,
yeah,
just let me
right.
get one.
If I had a hole, I almost had a hole in one a couple times, and one of them was so disappointing. So Yale Golf Course at Yale University is like a really famous golf course, and the ninth hole there is this like it's what they call a Baritz, where they got the big valley in the middle of the green, and it was 220 yards, and the hole was way in the back. So I hit my 3 wood. The ball landed on the front, went down through the valley, went back up, and it goes by the hole. I missed it by about 6 inches, and I had a 3 foot putt, which of course I botched, and then I ended up with a par. But it was pretty
Been there
rough.
more times than I can count. Real quickly here, a couple of things just to kind of add on to that question there. Several of you are saying wait for consolidation or wait for confirmation. Then another question here from Kathy: do reversals have more volume than a pullback?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes if you see a big move down, like we talked about the Charles River a few weeks ago, which was just a classic sense of, or a classic example of what we would call a capitulation. So in a situation like that, I don't know, I will show you what I'm talking about. You get these massive spikes of volume, and you can see here, I'll make this easier to see. I don't know why they have it set up like this. But you see right here, we had this massive spike
Mhm.
of volume. This is actually the most volume that ever traded on this stock in a particular day. So the reason why something like this is important is because it shows a capitulation. So basically, the sellers are people that want to sell. They get sick of watching this thing go down. It just keeps going lower and lower. And I mean, I can tell you from my own experience, from my institutional days. You get an order to sell, like say 100,000 shares, and you sell 10,000 here, and then you wait for it to bounce, so you can sell another 10,000 at a higher price. But it just goes down, and then you sell another 10,000, and then you wait for it to bounce so you can get a higher price, and then it just keeps going down. Finally, you just call your broker up and say, like, look, man, just go get rid of the rest of the stock. I'm sick of looking at this thing. Make it go away. Right. And as a result, you get these big spikes of volume. So now the reason why this is bullish is because when new buyers come in, when the dust settles and people come in and start buying and say, the news that drove that stock down was bad, but I think the market overreacted. Well, the buyers come in and they can't find any sellers because the sellers have basically capitulated and left the market. So the buyers have no choice but to really start to force the price higher if they want to draw sellers back in. So that's where sometimes volume comes in handy. A lot of times, though, I don't pay attention to volume. I think the price action is much more important. And, some people will say, well, if the volume is increasing, that means new buyers are coming into the market. Well, yeah, but it also could mean new sellers are coming into the market, because for every trade, there's a buyer and a seller. So, like if you see the default settings on here, which I just changed to black, it was green on the up days and red on the down days. And I don't know. I don't think that really makes a difference. The conventional wisdom is that if something is trending and the volume is increasing, the trend will continue. But I've seen plenty of times where something continues to trend in whatever way it's going on declining volume. So I pay attention to volume 2 times, basically. One is in a situation like this, and the other is if I'm considering buying a stock, is there enough volume that trade daily to make it worthwhile? I mean, if something only trades 1,000 or 2,000 shares a day, it's probably something you don't want to be in.
Mhm.
So, as long as it trades like an average of at least maybe 50,000 or 100,000 a day, then that's what I would consider there.
Okay. Kathy here, this is one of the things here. First of all, let me know if Mark's answer answers your question there. What I would say is I always try and marry these two things together. If I get price action that is also saying the same thing that the volume is saying, that generally to me is a little bit of a stronger signal. This is a really good example of that. That very clearly looks like a reversal down there, and the volume really kind of confirms that. All right.
Yeah.
Do you have more? Can we go over some charts here from the chat?
Yeah.
Chat, let me know what charts you folks want to take a look at here today. I will go ahead and pull them up. Actually, Chris, thank you. Chris says CoreWeave, if we haven't covered it already, and indeed we have not. So why don't we start with CRWV?
All right, let's see what we got here. All right, I mean, when I'm looking at this, to me, it just kind of looks, well, it's trading up a little bit in the pre-market here. I would say there's just probably like a little bit of support down there. And this is this is where we're trading now, right? So notice where we found support. Was this just a coincidence? And the answer is no. It was support here. So just like we saw on the chart of the Dow Jones from the early 1900s, levels that were support can become support again because of seller's remorse. People sell here and they regret doing so when the price goes higher. And they say, if I can, I'm going to buy my shares back at the same price I sold them at. So people who sold here, placing buy orders here, makes it become support. So if you're thinking about buying something and it's trending lower and you're wondering, where should I get in? Well, if it's getting close to a level that had been support before, there's a good chance it's going to be support again. On the upside, it's the mirror image. You get resistance at levels that were resistance before because of the buyer's remorse. People buy here and they regret doing so and they hold on to their positions. And when we get up here, they sell. So remorseful buyers can make resistance stay resistance. So if you buy something at support and you're wondering where you should sell it, well, if it's getting close to a price that had been resistance before, there's a good chance there's going to be resistance again. And that would be a logical place to have your sell target.
So in the case of CoreWeave here, are you basically waiting for a breakout or a breakdown of these levels, or maybe trading the range on this?
I mean, I guess I would think more about trading a range. I don't really see too much going on here, other than it just bounced a little bit off of the support. So I would say I'm kind of neutral. I would be kind of neutral on this from this time horizon.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there with CoreWeave. Let's take a look here. Palantir Queen wants to take a look at Palantir. So I guess we ought to do that. PLTR here we'll do next, and then we'll do ADVM after that.
Yeah, now this is another stock that is kind of just been range bound and going sideways. So it's trading like right here this morning. Now, this is what we've just talked about. You see, the reason why there's resistance here is because there was resistance there. People who bought here are selling here. So it's kind of dangerous to buy a stock that's just trading under resistance, because sometimes when you get to resistance, what happens? You sell off. The sellers who created the resistance with their orders some of them start to get impatient or anxious, and they start to get concerned that they're going to get undercut. They know that the buyers are going to go to whoever is willing to sell at the lowest price. So they start reducing their prices, and it starts a snowball effect as the sellers start to undercut each other. Now, if you have what we call a breakout, meaning if you get above the resistance and you can hold there, that can be interpreted as a bullish fundamental, because you can infer that the sellers are gone. They've either canceled or finished their orders. So with these sellers out of the way, it sets the stage for a price move higher, because when new buyers come in, they're going to have a hard time finding sellers, and they're going to have to keep jacking the price up. So if you're looking to trade a breakout, this resistance, I would say, is about 187. So yeah, so look for some resistance there. But then if we can clear that, like maybe get to say 190 or so, then we'll probably go into another leg higher. I still think the market looks really strong. I mean, I don't see, in my opinion, I don't really see anything to be bearish about. Interest rates are going down. The sectors look good. We got all this money coming in from all this trade deals and everything. So I would suspect it's going to go higher. I mean, of course, you could always have something out of left field,
Sure.
like a war breakout somewhere. But yeah, I think that this looks pretty, from a trading point of view, it looks neutral. From a trading point of view, I would wait for this resistance to break before I buy some. The other place I would think about buying is right down here at the bottom, buy support. If it reverses, it gets down there. In general, it makes sense to buy things at two places. One is when they're just above support, because sometimes support tends to hold and they reverse. And two is just above the resistance, because if it gets above the resistance, you can infer that a breakout is happening.
And right now, Palantir is actually flirting every day with the 20-day moving average, and it's doing a really good job using the 50-day moving average as resistance. So it's, as support. So it's really not breaking down from this level. Palantir Queen says, I think earnings will send it through that 187 resistance. I'll be honest with you, given what we've seen from some of the companies here recently, we get a really good print there in Palantir. I would agree with you. I think that's probably going to go higher. The other comment here, Kathy said, Palantir, it seems like the volume is drying up. And indeed, it does seem like the volume is getting a little bit less and less. But remember, one big volume surge is going to be enough to really take it through one of those key levels. You might see some volume flow on the back of that. I have a little bit of the inverse ETF here, almost as a hedge for some of my other tech stuff. I'd be okay closing that at a loss. As long as everything else is performing. So, okay. If you have time, ADVM.
Yeah, I'll do one more. ADVM.
Yeah, Alpha Delta Victor Mary.
All right, so look at this one. Now here's another example of what we just talked about. So we're trading here this morning up here, and look at where we found support, former support level. So that's not a coincidence. Eli Lilly. Actually, this is getting bought out.
Lilly to acquire ADVM for total per share consideration of up to $12.47. Lilly to commence tender offer to acquire all shares for a per share price of $3.56 in cash plus one CVR, entitling the holder to receive up to additional $8.91 per CVR in cash upon milestones. So this is absolutely an acquisition. This is not one that I would personally trade.
Yeah, once something gets taken over, it's unless you're an arbitrage person, there's really not too much there sometimes to trade. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I do have a 9:00 meeting I got to go to, but I hope you all have a nice weekend. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Always look forward to having you back, Mark. Good stuff every time that you come in here. We appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend. All right.
Okay. All right. I'll see you next week.
All right. That is Mark Putrino, everybody. Really good stuff. Good questions. Appreciate all of that. Let me know what you think here. We will do the movers here right when 13 signs on, and he should be here any minute. And actually, that's probably pretty good because I'm babysitting my mom's cat, and she is having a temper tantrum. What are you doing? Why are you screaming at everybody? All right. I might have to check on that. We'll go ahead and check with 13 here. Happy Friday. Let's go ahead and bring him on. 13, we made it to the end of the week. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be here at the finish line. How about you?
I'm super glad. Look, in my opener today, I said I am absolutely thrilled for hoodie weather. Do you get hoodie weather down there in Texas?
Yeah. It's we get like maybe a week of fall, and then it's just winter for months. So we'll get winter pretty soon here. It's still pretty nice. Still kind of warm in this mid to high 70s. So
okay,
not yet.
All right. Let's go ahead and break down some of those movers. I think I might have to break up a tussle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with GNTA. This is Geneta Science.
Okay.
This had a huge pop. Not a misprint here. It's had a huge pop up to 44.30, backed all the way off, and here we are down here at 11.30. My gosh, what a move here! Teams with anemocite, to enhance the off-the-shelf lentrivial vector plasmid DNA platform, providing reliable materials for preclinical and commercial applications. So it looks like pretty good news. There really hasn't done much past the impulse move, and we got nothing here on the short interest, nothing on the days to cover. On average, stock trades 10,000 shares. This thing's a ghost town, folks. Be really careful. It's traded 8.2 million here today. Floats 11.3 million. 13, what do you think on this one? And I will be right back.
All right. I mean, this is one I would have loved to have in the going into the after hours yesterday, because this thing ran from like $3 all the way up to $42.60 before it came back in, and it's just been sideways. So this is all on a partnership with a Nemosite, and they do have a couple quarters of cash, but it looks like they could end up raising. I didn't see anything, any raises prior to their earnings that would affect their balance sheet. So it looks like they are going to need to raise capital after a couple more quarters. They do have 11.3 million shares in the float, so not a very large float structure. Not the smallest that we're looking for either, but still real easy to move around. As far as levels go, this has, like we said, this has been kind of going sideways after the impulse move. It looks like there's support at about $10. That's at the top of the first candle on the impulse move, and then we just blew right past that $10 price right in the second candle there. So that's going to be the first area of support, just above the 65 EMA. We're currently trading up to VWAP, but the next big area of resistance that I see is going to be at 13. So if we do manage to get past resistance, we have we had this impulse move at about 8.15 that took us up to that $13 level, and we just came right back down beneath it since then. So $13 is going to be the next resistance after VWAP. $10 is the support that I see. Let's find out which way it goes.
Okay. Really good stuff there. GNTA. We'll also see how that actually trades here. I suspect, given some of the low volume there, might be kind of spread thin. We'll see. QLGN is another one that I had here on the list. This is Qualigen Therapeutics. This had a move. Oh, let me reset this real quick. It's had a move in the after hours yesterday, followed by another leg higher here today, although it gave that back pretty much entirely here today. Qualigen Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced a strategic partnership with BitGo to support the C10 Treasury strategy focused on top cryptocurrencies. All right, so I guess it's pretty good news there. Stock moved from 3 to almost 8. Wow. Really lost some of these support levels. We lost the 65 EMA. We lost obviously the 9 and the 15. Looks like we're kind of consolidating here above the 200. I almost, at this point, 13 with the bleed back here, I'd almost like to see it actually print this and test it and show that it can hold it for another trade. We would have some pretty good range up to the VWAP if we do get that. So we'll see if that shakes out here. 11.04% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. This comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.7 million shares. Today it's done 30.5. Float here 1.7. What do you think here? QLGN, Qualigen. So
we've traded this one before, and the last time we traded this was on September 22nd when it had a big move. And if you look at the daily chart, that's what the result was. It just did nothing but pop out of the gate and then just bled the entire day, resulted in a bear flag that took us even lower. That wasn't the only time that we had a candle like that. If you look back even further, I think this is July. Yeah, July. Yep. We had the same thing. So I'm kind of anticipating that we'll see something similar today, where we maybe get a pop out of the gate, and then we'll spend a good portion of the day just giving that all back and then some. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating with this. The reason it moved was because Faraday Future had a 41 million private placement for their crypto treasury. That's the news that ran that up on the 22nd. The company has a 1.69 million shares in the float, so very easy to move around. But it doesn't have a lot of cash on its balance sheet, except we do have that 41 million private placement from Faraday Future that isn't showing up yet because they haven't had their earnings yet. So I don't think that they're going to need to raise capital, but I'm not going to say that there's no possibility of that happening. They still could do that. Okay. As far as levels go for this one, if we're going to even try trading this out of the gate, depending on where that is, to the upside from here, we have $6 VWAP, 725 and 815. Those are all the upside resistance areas that I see from here. If we're just ignoring the 65 EMA, which looks like it's about to get taken out. Yeah, it does. But if we do continue south from here, we do have one area of support down at 520 and the 200 EMA on the 5 minute at 515. area of support that I see with it. To me, it seems like we're just going to come right back down. Days past have shown.
Okay, let's see right here. I'd really like to see some more volume here. This feels quite dry at the moment, so we'll see if that changes. Okay, really good stuff there, 13 as always. Next here is going to be INBX. This is Inhibrx Biosciences. The stock looks like this closed on the lows yesterday at 29 and popped in the after hours, popped again here in the pre-market. Actually, I have a nice looking double top type formation at about 58, maybe a little bit higher than that. Here's your news in the after hours. Inhibrx Biosciences reports positive top-line results from its registrational trial, ozekibart. That's actually not so bad.
That sounds like a name from Futurama.
It actually does kind of sound like a Futurama name. That's actually a really good spot there. Ozekibart. And chondrosarcoma, and provides an update on colorectal cancer and Ewing sarcoma expansion cohorts here. See, top line results investigating it as a single variant. Let's see what else we had here. Just positive data on this. Company said it met its primary endpoint, showing a statistically significant and clinically meaningful improvement in progression-free survival versus the placebo. So that's going to be your good news here. This is up by 96% here in the pre-market. Wow, a huge move. Let's take a look at the short interest on this. 4.99% of the float shorted here with 3.52 days to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 150,000 shares. We've only done 1.3 million here. The float's only 10.5, so this thing can really rip, and based on the range that it's carved out here, it's likely to be in play here today. 13, what do you think of this chart?
Can you move your chart a little bit more to the left?
Sure.
I want you to start with a trend line at that last that one peak right there. Yeah,
you got it.
And draw it through the highs.
You got it.
So this is looking like where the price is about to go to based on the price action that we're getting right now. So that I would be keeping an eye on this trend line and that 58.64 high that we put in. What was this in the very early hours of the pre-market? Yeah. So that's what I'd be looking at. I'd be looking at hitting this trend line pretty soon. The float here, we have 10.5 million shares in the float. It looks like they don't need cash because they have 186 million in cash. They burn through 28 million last quarter, 43 million the quarter before. So they have at least 3 or 4 quarters where comfortably they can continue this cash burn they've got going on here. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I didn't cover this one. So looks like there has been some insider selling earlier this month. Don't see anything else about any capital raises. So I don't think that they've done that to add to their large cash holdings. So it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. I think I would just kind of lean on the technicals with this one for now. The support from here is going to be at about $52.80, maybe $53. But as long as that holds up, we should see this move that takes us up to the trend line that I just identified there. What happens after we hit the trend line? Not sure. It's going to depend on what kind of volume we have at the time. If the volume is enough that takes us over the trend line, then we're going to be looking at it as support. But if it can't manage to close above the trend line, then I'd be still viewing it as resistance.
Okay, really good stuff. INBX. How much time do we have? We got 18 minutes. We got oceans of time here. Next is going to be, I see a couple of you guys are saying you can't hear me. Is that the case? Occasional blanks. Try refreshing the stream and seeing. Cam, you said you hear it fine. I don't have any indication. Producer, does it look rough on our end? Let me know. I'll look into that a little bit more. Let me keep rolling here with NEUP, Euphoria Therapeutics. You're hearing it fine. Okay, thanks, producer. Okay, Euphoria Therapeutics here closed at about $4 yesterday. Looks like it printed 7 in the pre-market. Let's see if there's any news here today. Indeed, shareholder Weston Nichols reported a purchase of 639,000 shares at an average price of $5.14 per share in a form forward filing on Thursday after hours. That's what's driving this higher here. 44% here in the pre-market. 1.34% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. This comes on an average volume of 135,000 shares. Float on this bad boy is 1.87 million. Volume here is 25.6. Did you cover this one? You have anything here on NEUP?
No, but the math that I'm doing in my head kind of makes me think that this is pretty significant, considering that that's like what, over a third of the entire outstanding shares. I mean, this guy just bought up a third of the company, from what I'm understanding here, maybe a little bit more. That seems like a pretty good catalyst. I don't know. Hold on, I didn't cover this one, so I don't have any idea where this might go. But that's when somebody says, "Hey, I just bought a third of this company," that tends to be pretty good. So we'll see, what we get out of this. I don't know what we're gonna, because I didn't cover this one, so I don't know what any of this looks like. Give me a second, I can get an idea of where this might go. But I think that's kind of huge.
Okay, it sounds like maybe there is something. Maybe I'll try. Maybe when 13 pulls it up here, I'll try leaving the studio and coming back in. 13, you're going to lose my screen share if I do that temporarily until I get back in.
Okay.
If your producer here is saying, if you're having issues, refresh the stream. It's fine on this end. Producer's watching the production end of it. So, hey, I don't have any indication here. All my levels look good. Everything looks good here today. Ryan, it's not you, it's us. Okay, Cam, I'll just keep rolling then. All right.
Now, if you did you see a trend line there?
Of course.
So as long as we hold the VWAP, it looks like I kind of would lean on the price having a chance of getting up and testing that trend line again. Maybe there's another scenario where we do lose VWAP, we go down to the 65 EMA and find support there before we make that move up towards the trend line. But I think we want to keep that trend line out there. We want to keep an eye on VWAP. And those would be the two scenarios I would see for upside from here. Either we lose a VWAP and recapture it after a test of the 65 EMA, or we just continue to hold it here and start to make our way up through $6 and $6.20, where I see the next area of resistance that takes us up towards that trend line again. So just a couple of things I'd be looking for with this one. I don't know how much more we're going to go beyond, if we're going to even get beyond the trend line or not. But once we see what the volume's like as we approach that trend line, we'll get a better idea of what to expect.
Okay, sounds good.
If it's too much trouble, I can just do movie announcer voice the whole time. We'll see if it breaks up that way.
Yeah, let's just blame AWS.
Okay. All right. Next here, let's see. I definitely want to get to Beyond Meat. This IRE here. This is a daily defense levered ETF. I don't really think there's anything to cover there. VIOT, was this on your list, 13?
No, the only other one that I looked at was WRRX. I think that's what it was. I may have wrote that. No, WGRX. One.
Real quickly. While I have VIOT up, I know you didn't cover this one, but I'll just mention what's going on here real quick. Viomi Technology announces the release of its first half 2025 financial results on September 10th. They announced a $20 million share repurchase program. That's what's driving this higher here by 15%. We take a look at the short interest on this one, negligible. Really nothing going on there. Float 56.6 million. On average, it trades 7 million shares. It's at 500,000 shares here today. Quick peek at the financials here. Let me do it on an annual basis. Income statement. So they make money most years. They lose money some others. Actually, it looks like they just flipped positive here. Let's go back to the balance sheet. They got plenty of cash. So I don't think there's any type of dilution that's going to happen here. Maybe we're kind of staying above that 65 EMA, which is great. If we continue sideways here and we get some volume flow into this, maybe that'll take us up to the VWAP there. It's only about 24 cents away. So we'd like to see a bigger move towards 4 if we can get it here. All right, 13. Which one did you want to take a look at?
I just looked. Well, it was over $1 when I covered it, but at WGRX.
WGRX. Okay.
Yeah. So let me just pull this one up. So this one was over $1 when I was looking at it. It's since gone underneath, but it seems like if we can recapture the VWAP, we might have a chance of going back over $1 again. It's got another trend line you can put on the top there. This one had a letter of intent to team up with Data Vault AI DVLT to digitize prescription drug tracking using blockchain. So I thought that was pretty cool. This company has 66.6 million shares in the float. It does need cash, but it appears to have enough for 1 quarter after it did a capital raise not too long ago, back in September. It raised $5 million through a public offering. So they have some cash, but it's not enough. They're going to need more at some point. And then as far as the chart goes, I already talked about how there's a trend line up there. If we do start to, if we can't recapture the view up and we continue lower, it looks to me like 85 cents is going to be one of your earlier support areas. Maybe 90, but I like 85 better. And if that doesn't hold up, then I think your last area of support is going to be at 65. And if that doesn't hold up, then this thing's going back to where it started, in my opinion.
Okay, it wouldn't be a movers list if we didn't talk about Beyond Meat to infinity and beyond. Here we go. Let me reset the chart here for you. We are trading higher here today than the close, but there are some levels we need to get above. The first one that I see here is going to be 340. This was an intraday high yesterday before we broke that. It's also the pre-market high here today. 375 is probably the next level after that. How did that line up? That was actually a support level the day before that. So I've got 340 here, 375 next, then probably something closer to 4 3/4 there on Beyond Meat. What do you think here? You think the fake meat's going to have another move here today?
Oh, it certainly could. I mean, it's got the only reason I think this is going to have any kind of moves is because of the short interest. I don't think that there's really much fundamentally here. Now, let me put something into perspective for you. I did a little of little fun thing for myself where I just kind of thought, well, let's see what the market cap of this would be if it actually went to $94 a share. And the market cap of this company, Beyond Meat, if we actually did to go to $94, would be higher than most, if not all, almost all of the its other peers in the same sector. So we're talking, it would have a higher market cap than General Mills. It would have a higher market cap than Cal-Maine.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have a higher market cap than most food companies out there. So it just doesn't make any sense to me for this thing to go to 95 on a fundamental basis. Could it squeeze up there? Maybe. I don't know though. It just it's a tall order. But if it squeezes up to there, then I'll be thoroughly impressed for one. But I don't know that it's going to be hanging out there because it would not make any fundamental sense for a company to be valued like that. Kind of like how these quantum companies and some of these AI companies are valued.
You know what? That's a really good segue. I too don't think it's getting to 94. I'm not going to trade this here. Jay saying the short interest is only 10%. Jay, we're going off of the filings. Whatever 10%, wherever you saw that is an estimation of the short interest. It does not come from the filings. We have the most recent print here. And it is in fact 54%. Now, on that note, if this drops when we do get the new print, that will be notable. That will be notable. All right, Rakesh asking Benzinga, I joined just now. Is SCNX covered already? What would be some nice levels for it? This was one from yesterday. Yeah. So SCNX, and the reason I'm going to mention this here is because this was a massive, massive win for our news desk team. Again, anytime we come across this, I'm going to point it out because this is a humongous value for Benzinga Pro. Yesterday, this stock did exclusive news with us at 7:50 in the morning. 7:50 in the morning. That was 15 minutes before the PR.
Nice.
So this, again, I've showed you guys how to set this up in Benzinga Pro so you can actually create a news feed that captures all of this exclusive news. It just gives you an idea of how you can be early or earlier than the masses here. Look what this stock did yesterday. Nice little
pre-market.
Yeah, it traded up in the pre-market, broke it in the regular session, traded sideways, took another leg up here. Now we're kind of coming back to earth.
I'm talking about this pre-market. Look at what it did in this pre-market. Look where the support came in.
200 EMA.
The 200 EMA, that impulse move that was at a time that the show was ending yesterday.
Yep.
So there looks like there's some support at between 165 to 175. That looks pretty good. Because if as long as we're holding that, then there's a good chance we're going to revisit that $297 $3 area, maybe even hit 315 today. This looks like this is starting to round and turn back up to me. So I think what needs to happen next for me to feel a lot more confident with this is that we need to see this move back over $2 and recapture 215. I think that would be the best case scenario for more upside here. So let's see if we can get 215 pretty soon.
Okay. Good stuff there. Anything else that you wanted to cover before the open here? We got 7 minutes.
No,
And no, Laura, there's no loose wire in the mic. This seems to be a YouTube thing. If you refresh or exit the stream and rejoin it, it should fix it. Seems like it's an intermittent thing. Now, I see nothing here on any of my levels or anything like that.
Yeah, and somebody was asking if I took a position in BYND. I think that was Samel that took a position yesterday. I don't have a position in BYND.
Yeah, neither do I. I have no interest in that. Okay. LDI, Loan Depot. This is one that we've traded in the past. We can take a look at that and see what's going on here. Loan Depot, actually a nice couple of days here and trading higher in the pre-market by 6.65%. Earnings in just under 2 weeks for this stock, Thursday, November 6th, after the market closes. Did we have news here today? The most recent news I have was a PR here about their financial results and a Form 4 here from the CEO. That was back on October 22nd. It actually looks like it's moved since then. And that was, I guess, executing some options, right?
Short interest climbed, but still just 1 day to cover.
Yeah, I guess this is be more of a chart play here. Volume is actually kind of disappointing here in the pre-market. I guess we'll see what happens when the market actually opens. Here's what the daily chart looks like. Does look like this is going to kind of curl and try to go higher here. I definitely think 4 is a resistance level on this one. Izzy, are you out there? I know you've been trading this one quite a bit. LDI in at 3. It is rate sensitive. So it's moving here today on the back of that really good CPI report that we got. Take care of yourself, Palantir Queen. Good luck. Hey, before you leave, what's the move on Palantir today? What's the trade? Excuse me. What's the trade? Long, short, got levels? Let us know. You are the queen after all. All right, what do you want to take a look at, 13?
Whatever the chat wants to look at.
Whatever the chat wants. Okay. Aries Stock Market saying LDI, good thing when interest rates go down. So you're looking like you're probably swinging this into this. What else we got here? That may have Lending Club had a huge quarter. That may have also helped. LDI, good morning, Jay. Good to see you again. Izzy wants to take a look at Rich Tech Robotics, ticker RR. This has been another really good mover, Izzy. I know you think you started trading this around a 2 handle. Really, really good stuff there. Okay. Hey, look at this, Rakesh. Dude, you are going to get a register ring for sure right now. I follow closely on those exclusive news. Caught it at 70 cents.
Wow.
Still holding it. Just make sure you just don't give the money back to the market. Put the money in your own pocket. Put the money in your own pocket. At some point. Okay. All right. RR. I don't think there was any news on this.
575 resistance, I would say.
Okay.
That's also where the 20-day SMA is.
Dude, really, yeah, that's crispy.
And if we do get that rejection, looks like, well, we were just down there yesterday. Maybe it looks like 520 to 525 could provide some support, but I don't know how strong that is. But I do think that resistance area could be, quite heavy. If it manages to get through the 20-day SMA, there's another area that has resistance up at 6. So that's kind of what I would be looking at here for resistance and support. 575 and 6.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff. Yassine wants to take a look at Tesla. Tesla's what are we at here in Tesla? So we are just a tad lower here in Tesla. Let me put it on the big chart. Oh, come on, Ryan. Type the ticker in correctly. Here is your Tesla.
Golfing candle from yesterday.
Yeah, big time engulfing candle. So to me, right away, 450. This is a key spot. I feel like we've talked about a number of times. Yeah, we were actually just talking about this a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Yesterday we talked about 450. Yeah. That was a rejection.
No, but I mean, even before yesterday, 450 has been a number that we've had on here quite a bit, and that we're right there, 13. And this to me is one of the. If this has any strength here today, 450 likely to get tested.
Yeah, it does look like the big level. And if you draw a horizontal line all the way across and look back at 2024, you can see how that particular level was getting that the price action. Looks like it was a support and resistance area for several days.
Sorry, I'm really struggling.
Gamma wall for Tesla, I think is what Emery is saying about 450.
Okay, there we go.
Question is, do they roll it higher?
Dugan saying the CPI print should push it over. And we are actually going to open up at a new all-time high. Boy, we've taken another leg higher here in the pre-market on the SPY. SPY here, 676.43. Get ready for a new all-time high, folks. And ES here, 68.19.5.
What do you have for the SPY?
676.36.
Okay, yeah, because I guess part of there's a part of Pro that shows the pre-market. That doesn't show the correct price. I have 673.18. But on the chart, as you say, it's 676.36.
Yeah, I think that's the closing price that's being reflected there. But
the closing price is 671.76.
Okay. Don't know, but yeah, looking here in the pre-market, 676.37.
Now, do we, after we open here, which is going to be in about 20 seconds, do we go higher from here, or are we selling at the open? What do you think?
I had said, okay, I'm glad that you asked that. I had said earlier, we really want to wait out the first couple of minutes to see if this pulls a little bit of profit taking. I do think there's a chance that we do trade higher here today.
Okay.
I feel like we have rate cut priced in.
Here we go.
We think we're getting it next week. To me, all signs are a go. We'll see, though. Let's see what the market does here.
All right.
All right, we're open, folks.
What you got for us, movers? What you got? Looks like WGRX wants to recapture $1. QLGN trying to get over that 65 EMA on its way up to VWAP. NEUP, that had a nice pop, but it's selling out of the gate now.
Rocket higher. Palantir higher. Palantir 184. Boy, that might go test that 187 resistance today. Netflix, by the way. Did anyone take Netflix yesterday? Wanted to see where that closed above the 200-day, but we're peaking below the 200-day as we speak right now.
BYND selling out of the gate. Loan Depot kind of sideways. WGRX still looking for that $1. Had a nice reversal off the 65 EMA. Let's see if it gets the volume to take it up to $1.
Market's still holding in here. 676, flirting with that level there. See if we can get a push higher. Ondas going for 8 as we speak.
Not a whole lot of big blasts off, you know.
There isn't. I'm going to leave Beyond Meat on the screen here. I'm going to step away for just one sec. Be right back.
Sounds good. So far, SPY selling out of the gate here. Down to 675. Kind of makes me wonder if we're going to see a gap fill. And if that happens, that means that the price is going to come down. If you're looking at the wick, it's going to come down to about 672.60. If we're talking the real body, that's going to be more even further down at 671.80. All right, LDI. Now we're starting to get a little positive movement here. Slow, but starting to go positive. We're also getting a little bit of a lift here with QLGN. Still having trouble getting over that 65 EMA. There's another mover this morning that I looked at, VIVK. That's getting a lift out of the market, or out of the open here, but not on great volume. INBX. Here we go. This one's moving a little bit better. Western Union. Looking for Hey, that's one I was looking at too. I'm not sure about Western Union. It looks like they could end up doing well. That really does need to catch up to its peers, but I'm a little bit worried about their dividend remaining in place. So then we can cover that a little bit more later. Meanwhile, we're getting a little bit more movement up to the upside with LDI. It's a great mention. BYND losing VWAP. VIOT still trying to make its way to its VWAP.
You said VIOT. Okay, got it.
VIOT. Just kind of moving around, looking at what's moving here. GNTA, that's lost its 65 EMA. It's trying to recapture it. WGRX is just almost at $1 now. Looking like a pretty good recovery as it chews its way through this sideways consolidation from the pre-market. QLGN popped up to 6, and then it came right back down. Doesn't look like this has a lot of strength at the moment. INBX not looking too bad. There's not a whole lot of really great looking movers right now. What is the chart here?
A lot of stuff popping out of the gate here. A lot of stuff popping out of the gate. Tesla, interestingly enough, went to 451 and immediately pulled back down to the 444 handle. Wild stuff going on there in Tesla.
SPY was red a moment ago. Now it's turning green and going higher.
Yep. Here's your Tesla chart.
There we go. VIVK had a nice move that took it over VWAP temporarily. I don't know why I was looking at VIVK, but I realized a little too late into the research that it was less than $1.
I think someone asked about it earlier.
Oh, okay.
I think someone asked about that a little bit. Yeah, honestly, I do have those calls here too. Let's see how those are doing. Those are cranking. Still in those December calls. That's the 11 call.
What do I think about RGTZ? I think it's creating some more opportunities.
All right, so I'm going to start with the Rigetti. I'm going to start with the underlying 13, and then I will move to RGTZ. Almost screwed that one up. Here's what Rigetti looks like, $42. This is a bust above yesterday's intraday high and the pre-market high. We have the pre-market high of yesterday at 44. Here's your RGTZ chart. Do you have levels that you're looking at for this one?
Well, yesterday we got a rejection at the 20-day SMA, so I'm waiting to see if we. And then yesterday I also had said, I don't remember if it was here or in the happy hour chat, that as long as this continues to try and recapture the 20-day SMA and inching a little bit higher, I think that's going to be a great opportunity for us because it's forming a bear flag in the process. And if we can't, continue to if we can't close and continue to close over the 20-day SMA. I think this is going to be an opportunity for us to go along with RGTZ and be able to capture the downside in RGTI that way.
Okay. There you go. So, I am hoping that these quantum names give us more of a pop here and we get an opportunity to re-add some of that at a really good price. That's just in English. That's what I'm hoping for. Straight up.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Tesla looks like it is trying to hold 444 so far. Rocket 1850, it pulled back off that spot. Sorry, 13.
GNTA halted to the downside. WGRX just knocking on the door of $1. QLGN losing the 200 EMA right now. This one not looking like it's going to have a really good morning. VIVK, that's still trying to get close above the VWAP. INDX pulled back. Now it's got a bit of an inside candle going on. NEUP, that popped up to the 690. Yes, almost the 694 pre-market high. Just a few cents shy of that. And now it's coming back in. It looks like there's a seller that's trying to walk it down from 650. BYND, this continues to fall here. Looks like if there's going to be any support coming, it might come as early as 295. Lone Depot, that hit a high of 380. We're getting a little bit of a backing off of that now. But yeah, hey, Rigetti, go ahead and go on a run if you want. That's just going to create some more opportunities for us to pick up that RGTZ.
QBTS at the highs, literally right out of the gate, plus 11.5% here. That is moving. Palantir 186 coming. It looks like 185 3/4 just got taken right there. 677.5 on SPY as we continue to trade up to the pre-market high of 678. That future spot for anyone interested, 68.37 1/4. Oh, is Open coming back?
It's Open and I'm sure we're getting lift from Zillow. Yeah, Zillow's up almost 1%.
Rocket's ripping. UWMC's probably higher. Here's Open. And SanDisk, that storage play, continues to move higher. Look at SanDisk, 180.
Yeah.
Palo Alto higher.
You're right. UWMC. UWMC been having a pretty good week. This just took it to the 50-day SMA.
PayPal, 71.10. That's straight up out of the gate on PayPal. And Tesla is trying to bounce from that 444.
Oh, and I think we're getting a bounce and Beyond Meat at the spot that I said. Maybe just a penny shy, but I was looking at 295 as a support area. We're getting a reversal off of 294 here in Beyond Meat.
You buying the fake meat on a Friday here?
Oh no, I'm just saying anybody wants to trade.
You're like, oh no. I'm just saying it's moving, but no, I'm good on that. 13. I can appreciate that.
I think you got it right when you said that the big move had already happened. Maybe there's some other big moves coming, but following this action that we got earlier this week, I don't think I want to try this. It's not for me.
The easy money has been made already. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
There's no fake meat left on the bone,
See what you did there.
Open was the last BYND. Well, I don't know about that. Open was when we traded Open and it was going on that run, it was for a completely different reason. I think what you're saying in terms of like how it was, you had the volatile price action. I get that, but we trade a lot of those that are like that.
Open also shared a high short interest.
Yeah, that's a big thing
with Beyond Meat. That was what it had in
QLGN losing the 200 EMA. I think I may have mentioned that, but it's going even lower.
Tell you what, this NEUP, this looks like 7 is stopping it. We've made a couple of attempts to take that out. One to keep on watch here. Would actually kind of like it at the VWAP if it holds. Gad Monkey, and green days like this, I like to have a real steak. I'm with you on that one. I don't even know what I'm going to do for dinner tonight.
It's Friday. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, you got that right. You know what? Maybe I'll do Indian food now that you said that.
Butter chicken.
Man. Way too early to be thinking about dinner. That's my own fault, though. I blame myself.
It's funny. Here we go. We couldn't avoid it. We were already talking about food.
I can't help it, man. I'm in a fast since like 7 p.m. yesterday.
What do we think of AMD at 250? It's literally how he typed it.
Look, respect. 50. At least he didn't type out Finna. That's the one I really just can't really wrap my head around. Let me bring up AMD on a big chart. We'll take a look at it.
I mean, kind of looking like right now at 250 is a bit of a resistance area. For me, AMD, this is I'm invested in this. It's a long-term hold for me, and I'm still looking for higher prints in this. I think that we could continue up towards the 280 to 300 area before we really start to see some heavy selling pressure. Now, hopefully, I'm not wrong about that.
13 trend line, bro.
Yeah,
and I'm almost positive that we drew this one here together, originating in the end of 2021. This gives me a target here today of about 272, 271, 272.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did draw this, and I'm looking for the price to get up there as well. Matter of fact, that reminds me. What's Intel at right now?
Here's my big thing with this. The guy asked, what do we think about it at 250? I don't really want to buy this here.
Oh, yeah, for a buy? No. I wouldn't buy it.
That's my big thing here. I would rather add on a day where this is getting pounded or when it's at a support level. Let me go back to the main workspace here.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we just got a whole bunch of volume and it started chewing up some resistance areas. Still having a hard time with 7, like you pointed out. But this thing just really got a lot of volume all of a sudden. So maybe there we go. Now we're pushing through 7. Let's see if we get to the trend line. Woo! This thing is on fire.
Oh, you know what? Where did my trend line go?
Hey, Amanda, how you doing?
Amanda.
And then
happy Friday.
And then when we're done looking at NEUP, I was about to take a look at Intel here. That hit our trend line. I'm now out of this one for my long-term trade. So I was buying this last year.
19s, right?
It was down in the low 20s. I picked up some in the teens. Yep. And I've held those for. It's been over a year as of August. It's been over a year now. So
better tax bracket. Let's go.
What I'm talking about. And this was just a really good idea. We talked about this a lot in happy hour about how this is, really, a hammered down price. And we got a lot of sideways consolidation for, what felt like almost a year. NEUP almost at that trend line, by the way.
Dude,
and then we finally got some great news, especially when Nvidia decided they were going to purchase it, and that purchase price $23.28 really helped establish a floor for this stock. So,
I think it was Daniel that mentioned this. Daniel, yeah, NEUP. I believe. Let me go try and find the comment. But I'm pretty sure he said, "Watch this." Yeah, there's a couple of here.
Yeah.
Look at this, Daniel getting it done on a Friday, dude.
Hell yes.
Watch it here. This was before the 7 test and the break. This was an early mention on that. This now pounding the highs here. I think maybe the trend line does get tested.
7:30. You got another seller in the way. We get through him or her, whoever it is. I think we're testing that trend line, if not breaking through it. Okay, here we are. We're hammering right there. We just moved through it. Come on. Take us up. Take us up.
Amanda here, the volume in the overall market is great this morning. I'm closing a lot of things above the mid and expecting things to flatten out. All right, so selling into the move up and then waiting for the general malaise. I like it. Apple trying to bounce off 260. Bitcoin actually rolling over here, 110 on the Bitcoin futures chart.
Yeah, patience does pay, absolutely.
Oh, you got that right. You got that right.
And you know, I cannot see the actual usernames of everybody. I only get their
Okay. Yeah, what you can see is the actual username, not the handle that user selected. It is annoying. And but it's just a YouTube thing, it looks like.
Yeah, so if you're having trouble hearing us.
Oh, you should have seen the welcome list. I was trying to read all these actual things. I was trying to remember who's who based on the picture. It was a rough one this morning. It was a rough one. But it's Friday. Ain't nothing going to bring us down. Positive vibes only all day.
Speaking of positive vibes, that IDAI really starting to move now.
Oh, is it? Let's go.
230. It was at 238 just a second ago. I'm sorry, 438.
I was like, bro, don't frighten me like that.
Sorry. I was looking at a different number, but 438 a second ago. This is looking pretty good.
Verification, authentication. Yep. That is going to be a theme, we think.
Oh, it's certainly going to be a theme. It certainly will be. All right.
Sergeant Sexy playing on this. Way to go.
NEUP, it keeps teasing that trend line. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Just hold them off for a few seconds.
Yeah, hold those bears off for a few seconds. Sorry, Ryan. Actually, we're playing each other this week in fantasy.
Oh, in fantasy, I saw that.
How did you like Vidal last night?
Dude, when I first checked in on that, let me tell you about it. When I first checked in on that, he had like nothing going, and I was like, I might actually benefit here. And then later on in the game, I'm like, touchdown. Vidal's like, no.
He went off.
He went off, dude. And here's the other thing. My parlay, I was so close. I gave out 3 slips yesterday on a happy hour. One of them was a 9-leg parlay on the football game. And we had Quentin Johnston, just was a no-show.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I think Wentz missed by a little, that bet was so close on that 9-legger, 11X.
Real quick, I'm being asked about CRML. So the price action today looks pretty encouraging. We did get this pop out of the gate here that took us up as high as, what's this, like a 1580 almost. Let me pull this up on my broker. And we're holding above a particular level here, just beneath VWAP. So if we recapture VWAP, I think we could see some higher prints.
Okay, we're right there too.
But we're going to need to see a recapture of VWAP with volume. So that volume that we were getting out of the gate, was over the first 10 minutes. Each 5-minute candle had over 1.3 million shares traded, and then we started to lose that volume as we sold off here. So if we can get another million plus volume to take us over the VWAP and push us up back into the 15s. I think that would be ideal here with CRML.
Okay. I've got VWAP in trading view here, 1493, 1495 in my broker. It does look like it's trying to take that out. I also have a daily pivot level here at 1475, which is basically about where this thing just bounced from.
Tesla, NEUP, we're getting asked about that again. So 755 is the current high, just shy of the trend line that I've drawn here, but still It's able to see it like Sarah Palin can see Russia from her house. So
Take that.
It's really close.
Take that, dude.
Beyond neat. Really great reversal off the area that I identified for support. Coming back up over VWAP right now, recapturing the 65 EMA in the process, or trying to anyway. 200 EMA is next. Getting a little bit of a pullback here in NEUP. LDI, that is still trying to get through 380. And if it does, there's a bunch of sellers in the way up at 387 and higher. So we're going to need to see a lot of volume in LDI if we're going to go much higher than this. What else we have going on here? INVX.
Sorry, really quick. Tenzin here doesn't like Apple reversal here. Hopefully it turns from the pre-market low. That's what I was looking at here. It looks like we're about to run right into that pre-market low. I think 259, Tenzin. We'll see if it holds here. SPY is actually pulled off that 678 down to here to 677, just beneath it actually. See if that takes another leg higher there on the SPY.
Big hurt. You mentioned you had Herbert. And it's funny because in my other league, I started Herbert, McConkey, and Vidal, and I'm absolutely going to destroy my opponent this week.
Yeah, you are.
Just with those players that played.
Yeah, you are.
Oh man, Baru. Good news to going to explode with the merger. Warren's very cheap. So James mentioning that Baru has some good news. Moment of silence for anyone who picked up GNTA in the pre-market. Yeah, that thing has just been absolutely gross. Probably looks like we're going to have a test of the, or not a test, or maybe even fall through the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Volume's really low, not looking great. Got a lot of resistance to recapture if we turn around here. So maybe this trades better later on. But
your CRML through the VWAP now.
Perfect.
This through the VWAP here.
Perfect. Let's
holding 15.
Yep, this is what we need. This is what we need to see here with CRML. So if we can continue to hold above VWAP, get a little bit more volume that takes us up higher. I mentioned the volume earlier. We can get to some of those prints we saw earlier, like the 1578, maybe even higher. But volume is going to be the key from here because the pattern's there. It just needs the volume.
NEUP through the trend line.
Yep.
The trend lines are doing it all. Green volume candles right there. Nice green move higher here. NEUP for all of you trading this one here today. Let those registers ring, baby. Let's go. Perfect. This is a good Friday here already.
And it could continue higher. I think this might end up going to 870 before we see some resistance. So there we go with the NEUP. I got my eyes on 870 here for we might actually halt pretty soon with this kind of movement. As a matter of fact, I think we're about to.
NEUP, let me bring that up in my broker. I'm still watching CRML here. There it is. There's your halt. Halt number 1 of the day. Let's see where it goes. Congrats to everyone in NEUP. Way to go.
That was awesome.
Way to go.
And I think that was like multiple people being on that and Daniel, like, keep an eye on this one. Everybody, great job. CRML, let's see if we can get this movement that we're looking for. We need that volume.
Sure are.
VIOT, this one's still trying to make its way up towards VWAP, but it's just, really slow, low volume moves. Big seller in the way at 340. So that might take some time to get through him, that seller, or it's just going to reject there. WGRX, this one with another trend line after reversing off of the 65 EMA, it has recaptured $1, and we are moving up towards the pre-market high of 114.
CRML 1530.
Through it. All of a sudden, we're through it. We just hit the trend line. Perfect. Trend lines are so crispy.
Yes, they are. And CRML, dude, This is working.
Perfect.
All right. So we owe more register rings, right? WGRX. There we go. The CRML is in progress right here, but that's working. Don't give that back. Don't let that go red on you. Have a stop. Raise it if you have to.
Yep. LDI, still holding that VWAP. Need to see some more volume, but nice green recovery candle after it traded beneath VWAP briefly.
Here's QBTS. Palantir above 186. Let's check in on Rigetti Spaghetti. I've got to imagine all these quantum names moving here today. That's gonna. So, well, let me know if you enter Rigetti or RGTZ, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, if this happens where I'm gonna start picking up RGTZ, it's gonna be similar to how I did it yesterday, where I just slowly start picking it up, because I started doing that as it approached the 20-day SMA yesterday, and it really reversed hard after that, and then we got the back and forth news of Rigetti saying, well, we're in talks with people that are in the government to invest in quantum computing, and everybody in the U.S. government commerce is saying, we're not talking with anybody about quantum computing. So that back and forth was perfect for the trading.
It really was. That's pretty much all you needed yesterday. By the way, CRML, that's coming back in towards the VWAP. Pretty good knife there.
Still above the VWAP, but the volume
still above.
But we need that volume. Gotta have it.
All right, I haven't seen anything crazy here on the options. Looks like some UNH calls, 350 calls. That's probably a closing order, isn't it? Might be. UNH moving higher here.
Giving a mention about TMQ performing better than CRML. That's probably going to be the case. And I get the sense that we should still be keeping our radar honed in on NAC. This is still coming down, and that's fine, because it's really going to be dependent upon the EPA veto getting lifted by the courts. So I think that's just the thing you need to pay attention to with NAK. This has been providing some really good moves. I think that if we lose this 20-day SMA, that we're going to get some pretty good opportunities for entry if we still want to trade this, and we still believe that we're getting those restrictions lifted. So I think that we're going to get a really good opportunity here with at NAK, especially with that potential veto being reversed. We just have to keep an eye on that.
Okay. Good stuff there. NAK. I'm actually going to refresh Pro here real quick.
VIOT almost at its VWAP.
CRML on that pullback held its VWAP and might be trying to bounce back up towards those highs. CRML.
Beautiful.
Whoa, what happened here?
WGRX. We're on a run now. We are on a run now, folks. Big time recapture of the dollar. 129 now the high. That reversal was just at the open was just way too good.
Oh, where's my workspace?
All right, let's see. NAUP, that might be coming on off the halt pretty soon, I think. Do you have the time that it halted?
NAUP halted 9:51:44.
Any moment now.
Any moment. Let me just queue it up and have it ready here.
Yeah, maybe in the next 20 seconds.
You know what? Damn that layout law. I lost my trend line. Let me put it back on here just so we can see if we back test it.
And it's open. There we go.
It's open. It was 5-minute halt. There you go. 836 looked like that was your high there. CRML pulling back and losing its VWAP.
843 high and NAUP coming back down towards that trend line. We're going to be wanting to see that as support. Meanwhile, Lone Depot still sideways. Moving towards the lows in RGTZ, which means that Rigetti is still trying to climb there. Big move through the VWAP on CRML. WGRX 130 is the high now. NAUP and WGRX has been the two best movers, I think, so far this morning.
Yeah.
NAUP
for sure is your stock du jour there. It is pulling a little bit here, but it's holding above 8. Let me check in on CRML.
VIBK, this thing had an ugly knife after being unable to recapture VWAP. It lost 65 EMA in the process. It is now approaching the 200 EMA. If we don't get support there, then I think this thing is going to be finished. Getting the pullback here on WGRX and NAUP, losing the. We're trading beneath the trend line at the moment, but there's still a minute 40 left to recapture it and close above it.
652 is the VWAP that I have on NAUP if it really pulls.
Hey, no problem, Izzy. I can see Izzy. Oh, I think it's on X. Okay. All right. Stop at 8. Well done. Big Hurt.
Who asked about Reddit earlier? This higher out of the gate by about 4.5%. Someone asked, I think it was wanted Mark to take a look at Reddit. This actually looks like we might have a gap fill up towards 230.
Yeah.
Tesla 440 now, even more lows.
I don't know. I kind of like that 230 as a big resistance area. Now that we're trading above the 20-day SMA, you have the 50-day SMA at 225.64. That also looks like we could get a rejection there. So, there seems like there could be some upside to Reddit, but I don't think there's a whole lot. I don't think we're going, $50 from here or anything. It still looks kind of weak to me.
Yeah, don't you have kind of a short thesis on Reddit too? They're not out of the woods yet.
I don't think they are yet. There's a lot of real nasty, politically charged, posting that's happening in Reddit and a lot of stuff with Twitch that could materially hurt these companies if advertisers decide to leave those platforms. So just something I'm keeping an eye on because it's getting pretty ugly.
VIOT right at its VWAP here, 345. I actually have 343 in the broker. Right there.
NEUP, we lost that trend line, but we aren't selling off. We're trying to turn around here and get another test of that trend line, it looks like. And you mentioned VIOT getting over that the VWAP.
It's trying.
Yeah. Looks like we just made some new session lows for RGTZ. WGRX trying to recapture this trend line.
Amazon 224. That was a nice move there. Is he 2 points right out of the open? No dip, but 2 points right out of the open. Bitcoin pushing. That's interesting. Or coin, I should say. Coinbase pushing here. Bitcoin looks like 110,500 was your low point there. Reclaimed 111. Here's Coinbase. JP Morgan upgraded the stock from neutral to overweight, slapped a 404 price target. Previous target was 342. So that's a pretty big raise there. Coinbase is a great looking chart here.
You got a downtrend line you can draw from the July high through the October high.
I see you.
And it's interesting because that October high is about just $1.50 like away from where that price target you just mentioned is. So first thing we're going to see is a recapture of 350. That's been a big support. Support and resistance area. You have the 20-day SMA just above it. So if we can recapture those two levels, then I would say that it looks like we're certainly going to head to that 404. But that's quite literally about $60 away from here in a $340 stock.
WGRX getting mentioned here by the chat. That did go higher a little bit.
Yep, just pops.
And VIOT, that is continuing on its move away from the VWAP. Let's go.
Yes,
Let's
sir. go.
Looks like, yeah.
Okay, so 350 for VIOT, large seller underway. That's also a resistance area.
Yep.
Gonna need to see some volume to get through this guy. But if that happens, then I think that we're gonna at least see 370 to 375. Don't know if that move through that 350 seller is going to take us up to that 421 pre-market high that we got. So, but I certainly think that we're going to, at the very least, move up to the next area of resistance.
Okay. Let's see if VIOT can get above this area here. I'm watching the 350 spot there.
LDI with a nasty engulfing candle here. This is pretty much swallowing up all the price action from this morning. Not looking good there.
That looks to be specific to Loan Depot because Rocket's still doing pretty well. UWMC was on the scanner as well.
WGRX higher now, 137 new high. Let's see, where does this end up going to? So WGRX, if we continue with this, there's a large area of consolidation back from September that it's going to have to chew through. But if it manages to get through that, I think this could go up to 195.
Okay. Yeah, Izzy, I hit CRML off that last move through VWAP, and I'm also watching VIOT here as that continues to move through the VWAP too. I'd actually like to see this bust through that 350 area. We'll trim into that.
If anybody's interested in penny plays, VIVK that we were looking at earlier this morning, that's down at the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart and getting some support at 33 cents. So could see this reverse here, but this is, I'm just flagging this for those penny players that if this is interest to you, there you go. You might have a reversal here on your hands.
Still waiting 350 on VIOT.
Yeah, that's a spot.
That is the spot. Entry there was 340, Izzy. 340. VWAP at 343. Won't let it go red. Want to see that 350 break, though. We'll see how much of a pop that we get. I do have like the pre-market high here at 422, and then the upper standard deviation of the VWAP band up there at 394. We'll see if we get any of those. A little bit of a pullback here.
Yeah, Jay mentioning deck, you got a kind of a resolution of this descending triangle here that's been forming since April.
VIOT pulled back a little bit, stopped on that one. Wanted to see that 350 break, might still get it, but we'll make sure that we stay protected on that. Deck was the one that you were mentioning. That was from Jay?
Yeah, because that had earnings yesterday. That's down 10.5%. This was trading into a descending triangle. I might have mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, I think we did. And we lost that support area too. Look at that.
That's the descending triangle breakdown.
Yep.
So we could probably see this go down to 80 before we start to get some support. It's down in a bit of a demand zone now, but the bottom of that demand zone is around 80. So it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up trading down, next week, maybe today, but next week. I think we could see 80 in Deckers. We'll see. There was a big support area at 95 that we lost, though. Big support area.
Yeah. Ooh, IDAI still holding 420. Sweet. Ondus still rocking towards the top. I tell you what, I'd love to get another big pop in Ondus. I would lighten some of the calls and close some of those out as well. Was adding a little bit of those on the way down. Sergeant Sexy, I love it. Out of Ondus with the money bag. Boom, boom,
Nice.
boom. That was a really good trade on that little bounce. It did a really good job holding the 50-day. And actually, right now, we've got Ondus holding above. Let me see here. What do we got?
Got it at 8.
Yeah,
Much.
The 8 EMA is right at 788. It's doing its best to kind of close above that. I also have on here, let's take a look, the 13 SMA. I have that up at, let me get you the exact value on that. I have that up here at 879. So I'd love to see both of those get recaptured in the next couple of sessions. Might be a big ask, but we'll see. Gil Whopper, take care of yourself. Stopped out of Bend.
Intel continues to sell. Hey, I don't care anymore because I was out at the open.
That was a really good liquidation of that final position there, 13.
Thank you. I didn't want to hold on to this thing because that if you had the trend line there still, right?
You know what? I actually just had to reload my layout. That one might have got deleted. Let me see if I've got it though, because we had a couple of those that were really old.
Yeah.
That we've been tracking for a long time. Let me see, but I did just have to reload all this. So just give me a sec.
Yeah. So
no, why do you break?
You're gonna
still
have
got it, baby. We had that
Nice.
one a long time ago. It's back testing that trend line as we speak.
Yeah. So
VIOT. Did it shake me? You son of a bee. I actually had pretty good entry on that first one though, but I think I might have just gotten shaken from that, Izzy. That actually still looks good as it's recrossing its VWAP right now.
What also looks good is CRML. That's still looking pretty good. Looking like we're still making our way up towards that 1570 high that we established early. VIOT, you mentioned that's still trying to get over back over VWAP, and it's still got to deal with that seller at 350.
Yep. And that's what I was waiting for the pop to kind of sell into that. And without it doing it, I just kind of was like, you know what, we'll just stop right here pretty much at the entry price. But I think I just got shook from that, honestly. We'll see if it pulls here. Now, I don't have a position for it now. And I don't have another one here in CRML. I'd love to see this try and move higher.
I'm being asked about BTTC. Give me a second. I'll take a look at this. Wow, this has had a big old pop and then dropped.
Rocket, let's go. Nice reversal from Tesla off 440, by the way. Dugan, are you still here? Are you trading Tesla here today? Let me know. And you want me to go to BTTC 13?
I'm just was being asked about this, so I'm just taking a look at it. I don't know really much about this.
Looks like a pop on volume here.
Yeah, I don't have a float reading in my on Pro. Broker says it's 1.89 million shares in the float, so that would explain the price action we got this morning. Just trying to look and see if there's anything that I can pin on this movement that we're getting. The only thing I see recently is a Form 6 from October 9th, nothing before that. So where is this company located? This is a Cayman Islands company. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that could mean that it's either out of somewhere out of China or Singapore. Hey, I'm just saying that tends to be the case.
We've seen it a lot.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot on this one. Let me see if I can get anything from the chart here.
Rocket, more highs here. Rocket looked like it might try to take out 1843 was your intraday high. It's at 1842 right now. That looking pretty good on the back of that CPI print this morning.
So BTTC, this IPO'd this month?
Yeah, we talked about talked about it on IPO day, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess I just don't remember this one because I haven't thought or looked at it since. But
it pulled a Voyager from its IPO.
I'd say so. Okay, so it kind of on the daily chart, it looks like it's trying to turn around and recapture some of these levels. One, it's beneath the 65 and the 20-day SMAs. It's having a time. I would say that if this can get back above like 515, you might have a good reversal on your hands. There's still going to be resistance in the way here, but like I said, I don't know enough about this company. It provides software implementation, consulting services, and human resource and payroll solutions. Hey, maybe that's going to be something that runs next year when people realize, hey, we probably shouldn't have fired all these people in lieu of AI. We kind of need them. Just a thought.
There are some companies that are already doing that. They're already hiring some of those back.
Yep. I think IBM's one of them, right?
I think so. Real quickly here, I think that's Billy, WGTF. God, these usernames. It sucks when YouTube does this. Rigetti government investment talks. Was there anything new on that? Because there was a whole bunch of back and forth yesterday. I haven't seen anything here today, but I very well could have missed that. I don't see anything on that from today. That is from today. Market stopping here just shy of 678. That was the pre-market stopping spot too.
Okay, are we still getting the same back and forth here with these quantum names? Because all I see is just more of the government saying, we're not engaged in talks with quantum computing companies.
Was that from today, 13?
I see from yesterday and today. And I'm talking like, toward the end of the day yesterday. I don't see anything today that says that the U.S. government's is currently engaging with them. If there is somewhere you can point to that says that, please let me know. I want to see it.
Yeah, I just see the back and forth from yesterday.
Yeah.
VIOT, maybe I was not faked out. Your first stop is your best stop. That down here, 337. That might still go on a run, though. There's actually been some pretty good intraday volume on that, so I wouldn't necessarily say that that's done yet. Maybe keep it on the back burner, but I'm out of it. Shaking from that one.
Is halted to the downside. And this looks like this might be over. The party's over here.
That's a broadsword from the trend line, dude.
CRML, meanwhile, is trying to climb higher. Now, just going back to BTTC real quick, as far as the price action for today, it seems like it's trading into a bullish formation here. So if we can hold this VWAP or at least not get multiple closes beneath it in the next 15-20 minutes, we still might be able to see higher prints in BTTC. So that's kind of what I'd be laying on. If we hold above VWAP, could go higher.
Tenzin, I should have followed you into those Apple calls, man. What a call. In fact, Tenzin, I don't even know if you closed your trade up, but it doesn't matter. Register ring and Chewbacca for you because it absolutely held that pre-market low that you identified right when we went there. I looked at it and I was like, do we take that? Do we take that? Opted not to, traded one of the junkers, and sure enough, here we go. Next leg up, engaged for Apple. What do you have as the next spot on this? 261.5, or do we go all the way to 262? And for those of you that were having audio issues, did leaving the stream and rejoining it or simply refreshing it fix it for you? I feel like those complaints have kind of died off. Tenzin, you still have them. I don't doubt that, Tenzin. Way to go. Should have followed you into that one for sure. And it actually looks like we have Netflix for the close today here for Netflix. Let me actually bring that up here, 13. Let me do that on the bigger chart.
Okay.
Because I ended up not taking a position here in Netflix. We'll think about that again before the close here today. Here's what we're looking at on Netflix. Been telling you that the most bullish setup that I can think of, or what I would like to see the most, would be a loss and then a recapture of the 200-day. Now, yesterday, we basically closed right above it. Today, we peaked beneath it, but we closed above it. Today, we gapped beneath it, and it actually looks like we're trying to trade back up and close above it. I've got the price here, 109.90, and I have the 200-day at 115.5. So I would love for this to get back above and close. And if it even if it closes like right beneath, but pretty much on the 200-day, we have a green day on Monday. I think Netflix is going to recapture that. So love to know if any of you are trading Netflix here. I'll wait closer to the end of the day. I think I want to see if this recaptures and holds the 200.
Low entry for WGRX. It seems like we're kind of in that area where you may want to consider entry because we're coming down with some support from the highs of the pre-market. So this is kind of we're pretty close to an area where we might want to, if you're looking to take a trade, where you'd want to pick some up. Just saying. Want to see some more volume though too.
Kathy saying Netflix has closed lower on volume the last couple days. Not a great sign. Yeah, I agree with you, Kathy. I'm really just kind of banking that recapture of the 200 brings in some more bulls to Netflix. We outlined after its earnings report, we outlined how great of a fourth quarter that thing is likely to have, at least on the content side of things. So we'll see there on Netflix. Netflix has been an absolute powerhouse. And I think the last time we took a look at that, the last time Netflix was anywhere near its 200 was like 2023.
I still think it's going to go lower.
And it might. I mean, if it can't recapture that 200, that sets up for going lower. And like Kathy's saying, she's giving you another signal here. Volume not great. That volume would need to turn around too. Like I said, let's see where it closes here today. Got a whole day left here for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Whole day left of, trying to figure out what's going to happen next.
Honestly, I'm okay. At this point, I'm okay just waiting here.
Oh, I think as soon as I wrap up my trades for the day and be down here, I think my weekend starts.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good.
Pool is sounding pretty good, actually.
The pool. Oh, man.
The pool is sounding pretty good. And it
must be warmer where you're at.
I was just going to say, it does get cold here in Texas, but we're not quite there yet. It's interesting, too, because it's usually cold at about this time of year.
CRML right here through 1530. I'd watch this 1535 area. It might go a little bit higher here.
You're going to go straight to Arby's. Yeah.
Oh, no. If you do that, you got to get the steak nuggets and let me know how they are.
No, not going to do that to my body.
I was going to say, someone from Texas is not going to Arby's for steak. There's no way.
That's Texas.
CRML, guys.
What do we think of Warner Brothers Discovery from here? So we're coming up to a resistance area at about 2250. It's kind of where this the top end of the large portion of the consolidation from 2020 is. I really have a tough time with these movie companies because they're just kind of crapping out awful content a lot lately, and it's not appealing to a lot of people. Apparently, the James Gunn's DC universe is going to be gone when if the sale happens. And I'm trying to think who was the buyer for this. There was some company that was going to try and buy them. Netflix, Amazon, and Apple reportedly interested in buying Warner Brothers. There was another company, I think Paramount. Yeah, Paramount was the other one.
Paramount, yep.
They were looking to pick them up too. So there's apparently interest in picking this up, but I think it's just a question of price. And that's what Paramount walked away from, because I think Warner Brothers Discovery rejected their offer. I think it was like $20 a share. And Warner Brothers said, no, it's got to be higher. And Paramount kind of was like, well, it's not going to be. But if Apple picked up something like this, that would actually be great for their Apple TV platform. As a matter of fact, that's something they probably need, because Apple TV, they are creating content, but they need a lot more of it. So
I mean, didn't they just have a huge hit with that F1 show?
Was F1 with Brad Pitt, that movie?
Yeah, but didn't they have a whole bunch of other stuff around here? Let me look. This up.
I don't know. I don't watch Apple TV. If they come out,
I don't either. I don't have it either. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Disney says it stinks.
Good. Thank you. That actually really plays into this theory here that if Apple picks them up, that'd be great for them.
Apple is the exclusive new broadcast partner for Formula One in the U.S.
Oh, gotcha.
So starting next year, you're going to have a lot of Formula One content. That's on the back of the Brad Pitt movie.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know if the Formula One movie was made by Apple or not, but I still need to watch it because I heard a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, I've actually heard a lot of good stuff in about that F1 movie too. I've never seen it. Anne Marie says that's correct. Anne Marie, Did you see the F1 movie? Are you a big F1 fan? I could see you as an F1 driver on the weekend, Anne Marie.
So when it comes to WBD, really pay attention to what's going on with that sale, because it seems like Warner Brothers has a price in mind, and the companies that are making offers are not really meeting that price yet. Looks like Writers Guild is planning to oppose the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, and it goes back. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about I'm just not sure about these production companies. They are really not hitting the marks with their movies. The Superman movie that just came out, I know some people like that. It wasn't profitable. So I don't know about these movies, right? Or these movie companies right now. It seems like there's some movie fatigue happening.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I really do. Real quick here, Daniel asking, what's up with Clove here today? Look at the move on Clove. Really nice move. Up about 70 cents here, or 21.5%. I didn't see any news on this. What I will say, though, is that today's move actually gapped us through the 200-day. Yeah. No news here, but they have this UBS conference. Did we talk about this the other day? This is going to be November 11th. So they're going to be presenting at a conference here on November 11th. Maybe this is some positioning ahead of that, but this is here. Let me go to a bigger chart here for Clove, because today's move really is a power move through the 200. Let me bring this up. I'll give you the visual aid. Here's your Clove chart. And you can see we're actually running away from this higher volume node that coincides pretty well with the 200-day. So this is a nice big push here. Got to fit. We're at a resistance area here, and it's just shy of 4. We also have, it looks like 405. That's a 405 to 413 is your only gap there. That's not a whole lot at all. Then we have a double top up here at about 480 on Clove. What's up, 13?
Oh, I was just mentioning that WGRX is trying to recapture the trend line. Meanwhile, we had, let's see, the QLGN that we were looking at earlier this morning. That continues to sell off. This thing now losing, about to lose 4. We also have a reversal in RGTZ. So it looks like we, started to get some of those, Rigetti to sell off here once it realized that there was no talks happening with the government. CRML back up here again at this resistance area that we've been kind of trying to push through all morning. A little bit more volume will take us through that 1550 level where there are some sellers. So still looking pretty good here in CRML. We just need some more volume to go higher.
Yeah, I agree with your 1550 spot as well. 1530 was the previous spot that we talked about. It broke that, and there's a bid down there too. So that is still moving higher here.
It looks like we did get a reversal initially off the 200 EMA and VIVK that took it up to the 65 EMA near VWAP, but it reversed at that level, and now we're losing the 200 EMA after that. So there was a bounce trade there for you penny players, but it doesn't look like VIVK held up. It still looks like if we can, man, WGRX is going to launch if we get this sudden spike in volume that takes us through these walls of sellers from 130 to 140, really.
Let me put that one on the. Oh, we got a birthday here. We got a birthday
Whose
here.
birthday?
My birthday, Tori Vance. Happy birthday, Tori. We're not going to sing for you. We're not going to sing for you, but we definitely wish you a happy birthday. Thank you, chat, for doing that same thing.
We have AI for that, so we don't sing.
We have the producer and AI to come up with songs for us.
But hopefully you enjoy yourself here today and you have a wonderful birthday weekend. Beyond Meat, going beyond the lows of the
I love
session.
that.
We're coming down to some after hours lows here from yesterday. CRML though, this is okay. We're 1550. This, if we get the volume expansion right here, we're going.
Not a whole lot traded at that 1550 area. The little bit of a seller there at 1548, looking like they're trying to front run that, but we'll see.
It's just going to matter. All that matters right now is getting enough volume to get through those, and then I think we could see that 1578 print again. Got to have the volume though.
Apparently, it wasn't. And now you changed your name to Tori to Envious. His birthday is November 11th. Confusing messages there. I tried to give you a happy birthday.
Either way, if it's your birthday, happy birthday.
Looks like that seller. There it go. Okay, seller at 1548 gone. 1550 now. CRML.
Come on.
And through.
Here we go.
Let's see if it keeps rolling through here.
Pile in. Pile in those volume. Pile in.
Bind is the Mullen of food. Well said, Jay.
So that means people are going to still trade it.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's going anywhere.
All right. Yeah, me with my puns. They happen. You're right, Tenzin. It is a cult stock. Is NEUP going higher? Well, the last I looked at it, it wasn't going in that direction at all.
It did recapture its VWAP.
It's right there
but
right
it's not
now.
showing like, it's not showing like it wants to.
It did get a turnaround here from a support area back from 7:30 this morning, but it's really having a time getting back above that VWAP. So I would say if we do recapture that VWAP, we're going to. I think the next big area of resistance you're going to want to keep an eye on is that $7 area. Going to need to see some volume here getting through VWAP and through $7 though. So if that doesn't change, then it's probably not going to happen.
Tennis, how do you guys scalp while talking to us? Very carefully. It's not
hard.
easy. And in fact, the more talking I do, the less trading I do, it seems.
Yeah,
I've actually had some of my best trading here during the futures forward section on Thursdays, but that's another story. One of the other tips that I can give with that, especially on a scalp, as soon as you place a trade, place a stop. That way, if you look away from it, you don't come back to it being like, oh my God, what did I forget? Just place the stop. Now, I did that earlier and got shooken out, but the stock didn't go higher. So first stop is your best stop.
Well, there it is, folks. CRML.
CRML. That was great. That was great. Missed the second move, unfortunately, but really good stuff right through that 1550 area. I've got 1578, it looks like, is the high print.
Tenzin, I imagine they are. Oh, gosh, that's the worst. You know what? Actually, Frozen King,
Dude.
Just ignore.
So
Just ignore.
there was a point where here I answered a lot of phone calls on a regular basis, and there were more times than I can count where a phone call interrupted a trade, and I hate to say it, but I blamed a few losses on more phone calls, or I blamed losses on phone calls more than I want to admit. Thankfully, I haven't done that anymore.
Make it quick. It cost me money.
Yeah, I mean, well, like you can't say that, but the one thing that I will say here is like this kind of goes to some of the other discussions that we've had about make sure that you're in the right space. We've talked about being in the right mental space, the right mental headspace for trading and all of that, but it's also true about your environment. If you're in an environment with a whole bunch of stuff going on, or you're trying to do this while you have another job, you're complicating an already difficult thing.
Jeez. Now, Tenzin, if you're going to tell me that you were driving stick trying to do that, then I think you.
See, I don't trade while I'm in the car, and in fact, I have a problem. I don't even check price quotes when I'm in the car.
I don't check text. I don't even look at my phone in the car unless it's got a map on it.
I was going to say I don't either because my phone plugs into my iDrive system. So like Waze, for example, I don't have to look at my phone. It Bluetooths to the car.
Odds of 3 rate cuts in 2025 reach an all-time high.
Well, yeah, I think we're getting one in October. I think that's a done deal.
All right. Then
especially with the CPI print today. I didn't think that CPI print really mattered because I thought the cut was already priced in, but now seeing it, hard for me to say we don't get one next week.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I need to go through the CPI report a little bit more. I saw some things that kind of had my head getting scratched a little bit, but I'll talk about that in happy hour chat after I've looked through that and had some time in the pool. Mine does it.
That is sick. That's a 5 series, right? Oh God, that's good paint. You do a good job taking care of your paint. At least from that picture, it looks like. Sorry.
Who was saying that?
Car guys, man, we're the worst. Sorry, go ahead.
Jay, that makes a lot of sense because, that's one of the arguments I was having about why it going to 94 was unlikely, because we don't have anywhere near the same kind of short interest that GME had to make it do the things that it did. Also, we didn't have, a bunch of people at home sitting in front of their computers getting stimulus money. So, I think the short interest on BYND being like 100, that's ridiculous. We're only seeing 50.
Which is why that's why I'm adamant that I just stick to what the filings show. Yeah. There's these estimates, there's these projections. I don't need any of that. Just give me what the filings show.
Chester mentioning DVLT. Now, this is one that had news because WGRX, which is having some pretty good moves today, they have a letter of intent with Data Vault for tracking their pharmaceuticals using blockchain. That's right, Zach. Brinch time. It's 10%, not 50. Well, like we're saying, we were just looking at what the filings are showing. The filings show 50%.
And we're actually due for an update, so we're going to get a corrected version of that next week, I believe. Let me just look at that and 924, 1009. It's what 14 is. Yeah, we're due for another print here real soon.
Well, that's Data Vault.
Yeah, I was just looking at the date of the short interest update. We should get one next week.
Okay. Looks like WGRX.
Izzy, you should make your license plate 10 to 8. 10 to 8. And if it was a 745, quarter to 8. Pretty good vanity plate ideas. I do like the front plate delete, though.
Looks like WGRX still trying to make a move for the session high it put in earlier of 137. Currently at 128. Starting to see more sell-off? Yeah, kind of.
Actually, he's right. The SPY really kind of rolled over there. So too did the NASDAQ, but it's still holding here. It's actually holding higher than where the CPI print was. Looks like this is kind of taking out the second leg that we had higher after that print.
Michigan consumer sentiment came out about half an hour ago. That shows that was lower than estimates. Looks like we actually started to reverse right after that came out. You look at the smaller time frame, 10 o'clock, we turned around.
Sorry for interrupting. WGRX went right through that 130. It looks like the intraday high here coming up. I've got that at 137.
Yep. Thank you, producer. Exactly. Michigan don't need plates, no, but they need consumer sentiment to be better.
There's still some controversy with that consumer sentiment number, but
oh, there's controversy with every report. I would say there's controversy with the CPI report we got today.
yeah, that's true. I don't really see anything else crazy here. It's just been kind of a good day, good Friday.
Yeah, we are seeing some stuff slow down and sell off, but for the most part, it's been pretty good.
And actually, this is a thank you.
Oh.
I forgot, Anne-Marie, thank you for mentioning that. I forgot about that. This is exactly what you and Amanda said earlier. Taking gains into the move higher, thinking that we might kind of fade a little bit, dry out a little bit.
Remember SCNX? We were talking about that one.
Oh yeah, that was the exclusive from yesterday.
Okay, this might be turning around here. You also have a trend line from the after hours highs through the pre-market highs you can draw, and that gives us a pretty good trend line to keep an eye on. That's just above the 65 EMA, right in the area of the consolidation from the pre-market. So we get back up to here with some volume, and we move through this. It looks like $2 is going to be the spot to get over. We probably have a reversal on our hands here that could help us see $3 again.
Wiss saying, Ryan, we've got some good earnings next week. I don't have the calendar made yet. What's at the top of that, Wiss?
Consumer sentiment hasn't always been lower than estimates. There's been plenty of times where it's been above. And when it's been above, we've seen, sometimes if the market's been selling off, we've seen reversals off of that. Just as we've seen a reversal off of consumer sentiment here today when the print was below estimates. But it's been above estimates before. WGRX still trying to take out that 137. Let's look at a daily chart here. So I said earlier that this could get up to 195. Still waiting to see if we end up getting that. Maybe that's something that happens in the afternoon.
CRML might be trying again through 1550.
Yeah, we're kind of above the previous resistance area where it was trying to get above all morning. It was like at about 1535-ish, 1540. So we're kind of holding above that for now. We're actually right down to it right now. We need to hold it here. Otherwise, we're making our way back to VWAP. WRX, Y up. Or do you mean WGRX?
He does. He means WGRX. Okay, so next week, just looking at some of these, the important ones, Wiss is absolutely right. Strategy, Mr., as we call it, MSTR, Roblox, Cloudflare, Shell. I don't know if anyone cares about that. Shell's reporting. Altria. I don't know if anyone cares about that. Starbucks, Microsoft, Meta, Google, Boeing, AEM. I know Lion dipped early here. His AEM reports next week. Verizon, Chipotle, Caterpillar, CVS, Visa, GlaxoSmithKline, PayPal, Booking, UPS, Mondelez. Tons of huge earnings reports next week. EA. Yeah, rest up for next week. That's going to be a busy one. Coinbase, Lilly, MasterCard, Amazon. Don't forget, we also get the rate decision next week as well. The next week is going to be big.
Yeah. Izzy, WGRX, we talked about the news earlier. This is up because they've got a letter of intent with Data Vault, that's ticker DVLT, so that they can implement a smart contract system and digitize prescription drug tracking through the use of blockchain. So this is
actually sounds awesome.
It actually does, and it's a really good way of knowing you're not receiving a knockoff medication.
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty positive for both companies. 143 is now the high in WGRX. New high of the session, folks.
The market is going to lose its mind next week, but we're not going to, Cam. The market might, but we won't. We're going to be good.
Okay, so Cam is looking at Merck, NVT, and Hub. Are these trades go for you're picking up today and going into next week?
Those are, I believe, what Cam is mentioning is that those are all stocks that report next week. If I'm not mistaken,
okay.
let me check. We just very easily check by plugging in Merck here.
Spot is flat to negative. It seems to correlate strong with Netflix. You know, Netflix and Spot are probably two of the strongest of the streaming companies. So if Netflix, it's kind of like one of those, you know, a lowering tide or a rising tide affects all ships. It could be similar to that when it comes to Spot and Netflix. But yes, those are a couple of the strongest streamers out there.
AMD still at the highs there, 252.
Well, RGTZ is doing really well because Rigetti is back.
You know, Palantir went up to that 186 level and kind of just drifted back from it. It hasn't broke down, it hasn't given it back, but it drifted a little bit lower. Here's your RGTZ chart, 13.
Yep. Yeah, it is looking pretty dang good.
Yeah, that was a nice little dip by there. And Jay, this is another really good point here, Jay. I definitely want to highlight this. If you bought the Wednesday dip, you've already got 10 or 20% pops, and it would be stupid not to trim it. I would agree with you, Jay. I would agree with you 100% on that. If you bought that dip, trimming it, not a terrible idea at all.
That 20-day SMA in Rigetti continues to provide resistance. It's done it for the second day now. Now, we still have a lot of day left, so we could
we do
go going back over it. But so far, 2 days in a row, this has provided resistance, this SMA. So Circle is going, says tennis is life. Let's look at Circle, CRCL. Certainly, this is up to 136.49.
65 EMA test and rip.
Now, to your point about the 65 EMA, if you look at a daily chart, that's the next big resistance area is the 65-day EMA, and that's going to have a value of 138.52.
Okay, we got it at 134.
Cleo's having a good day too.
He has been singing an awful lot in there. I put the same track of Birds Waking Up, the same parakeet track in there, and he is just let me actually just go check and make sure everything's okay.
All right. Data Vault broke the high of the day. I said Data Vault. Data Vault broke high of the day. Yeah, I mean, you know, the news with WGRX. If Data Vault gets more work like this to where they're tracking important things like, you know, prescription drugs, it's going to be really good for the company. I think this is what blockchain should be doing, in my opinion. Izzy, absolutely killer, dude. Way to go. 129 out 140. When Ryan gets back, it's going to have to be register ring in time. WGRX, really good looking stuff. Still looking, yeah, and just, you know, keep in mind, we're still looking to potentially get up to that 200-day EMA. That's at 193. It was a little bit lower earlier, but because we're getting a lift in the price, it's starting to cause that EMA to rise as well. What else are we looking at here? That's looking pretty
all right,
good.
Sorry about that, 13. I'm all good over here.
All right.
CRML pulled off of its spot.
We need a register ring for Izzy for his trade in WGRX.
Boom.
Data Vault going to 7 says Chester. F is boring, but 1 year high. You know what? F did go higher. We were talking about, like, is this going to do a GM move? And it seemed like everybody that we spoke to said, you know, we're skeptical of that. Well, it seems like we got a GM move because this thing is now, what is this? How many? This is now over the new 52-week high is what I was trying to get at. New 52-week high for Ford. We're about to gap fill, actually. That's the interesting thing here. And we may have already done that earlier this morning because the high was 1360. and the gap fills at 1367. So we might have gap filled, considered to be gap filled here in Ford, and we could pull off this this high a lot more after that. Where this goes down to, maybe $13, you'll have some support for Ford.
14 definitely looks like a resistance area. Ryan, is your bird saying buy or sell? It's saying neither. He's there was some kookaburras or whatever, some weird animal sound being played. I changed it back to the birds. He seems happy about it. I don't see anything great here for a new trade. I tell you what, the one I'm the most upset about missing was Tenzin's Apple trade that we literally talked about right at the open. That was the move, Tenzin. In fact, I'm going to give you another register ring. I know you said you sold them too early, but that call was so good.
Yeah, we're I've sold things too early before.
I look, dude, RGTZ. I made several points on that, and it ended up being too early.
As long as we're making money and our plan worked out, I don't think it's not a phrase I hang around too long with. Yeah, I could have sold a little bit later, but at the time it felt like it was the right move to go. And I don't want to change it about myself, because it's going to happen where you decide, you're like, you know what, last time or the last few times I decided to sell here, and maybe I should just hold on a little bit longer. And that's going to be the time where it knifes hard on you. And
that has happened to me. I think you're exactly right on there at that. There's always going to be another trade. So selling early, it's not the end of the world there. Frozen says, I like the bird. It reminds me of waking up on vacation. Yo, real talk. That was one of the things that I discovered after getting the bird. This bird's 10 years old. This parakeet is 10 plus years old. When I first got him and his two siblings, who have since passed, it literally felt like in the morning every day when I was working from home at the time, it literally felt like I was in Costa Rica. The birds singing together just made me happy. And it's been like that the entire time. I almost don't even hear it. It just sounds like regular noise.
Take care, Daniel. Have a good weekend.
Take care, Daniel. Really good stuff all week.
Java Man saying that deck is good now. Smoke Tuna looking at TOVX, strong penny play. The only thing I'm really on right now is RTGZ. That's I'm not.
I might join you on that because I don't really have much else to trade.
I mean, look at that perfect reversal at $12 right after we were talking about that 20-day SMA having provided resistance already, and it's still doing it. It's still doing that. A 20-day SMA. That's the big spot with Rigetti.
So just look at Rigetti, trade RGTZ, and watch that 20. That's your plan there.
So far, that's been working. Yep.
Tracy here asking about telomere. What are your thoughts on Telo? Seems like the bottom, but also seems like it wants to go lower. This has been a tough one. I just have several hundred shares just to kind of watch this one. I haven't really entered like a sizable position yet. The news was good, but as we kind of talked about yesterday, it's one of the things that 13 has been looking for a long time. It's the IND submission or announcement of that we're really kind of waiting for here on Telo. So this is what I'll say about this. If you want to, I like the longevity angle here. I think there's going to be more and more of that as time goes by. So I think that there's, there might be something here, but I'm just not sure that I'm ready to be in this in any kind of big size yet. You know what I mean?
So when it comes to telomere, and I've talked about this pretty frequently, the news they've been coming out pretty much the majority of this month and last month has been all work that they're going to be putting into their IND for when they submit it to the FDA. There's going to be a pre-IND meeting with the FDA that is going to, we're going to get a headline out of that. And then there's going to be an actual submission of the IND. So it's basically going to be a review process and then a submission process. Once that happens, the next step is going to be an acceptance by the FDA for that investigational new drug, to where Telo can now start human trials. That's the plan going into next year.
Yeah.
They're also planning to do the pre-IND submission with the FDA and the actual submission this year, this quarter. So just waiting on that news to happen, and all the other news that we're getting here about these, the impacts of telomere's, drug and how it's outperforming rapamycin and other chemo. This is all stuff that's going into the IND, so the IND disclosure. So that's really the big thing that I'm waiting for with telomere is when they actually start to submit the IND and go and talk to the FDA about the IND.
And I mean, just looking at the chart here, I understand where you're thinking like that, Tracy. I mean, look at this chart. It can't get out of its own way.
By the way, BTTC just had a big pop through UF out of
Black
nowhere.
Titan?
Yeah. It's not doing anything after that move, but it's on my list here of things that we're trading today and looking at. So thought I'd mention it. RGTZ continues to climb. We got the 200 EMA on the 5-minute as the next potential resistance area. And it looks like there is going to be some sideways price action there to get through. So $14 looks like that's the next 14 to 14.30 looks like that's the next big resistance area for RGTZ. WGRX. This is starting to look like this might turn around, to be honest. Really nice.
Yeah, it looks heavy up here. I was just going to say it looks heavy up here. I agree with you.
Take care, Judge. Have a good one. Have a good weekend.
Take care of yourself, Judge.
You saw Shady Wady saying, so I saw something that said the lithium market has hit its bottom. We should expect to see prices starting to rise. Thoughts? This is primarily the reason why I've been picking up Albemarle for what seems to be like the past year. I've been paying attention to where lithium's going, and then we got all this news about how China was starting to shut down some mines. That was going to affect that affected lithium prices because you're basically cutting off supply. But batteries are going to be a big theme going into next year, and that's really good news for lithium. And I believe, because I've been reading some of the similar things that you have, Shady, is that I think lithium prices are going to be twice as much by the end of 2026 as what they are now. That's really good for a lot of lithium producers, including ALB. So that's my thought on it. I'm thinking that what you're reading is true. Looking for prices of lithium to continue to rise. Yeah, ALB over 100 is big, and I think that this could end up going to 200. I think it's going to be a 2x. It'll take some time, but I think that's where it's going.
And it came from 213. I absolutely agree with you. That is huge. WGRX, by the way, did pull as soon as you said this looked. We were talking about this looking a little heavy. Pulled back down. Stopped at the 9 EMA though. So.
Yeah, it was kind of put in a series of upper shadows. You're getting 3 of those around that 146 area. So it looked like it was going to come back in some more. Now, it would be great if we did get some support around, 120. Right here is fine too. I just don't know that we're going to necessarily get enough volume to turn this around yet. To me, it seems like this has more of a chance of going lower pretty soon than going higher.
Yeah.
TOVX, nice. I didn't. Hey, absolutely, Shady. You're the man. LAC isn't doing much. Lithium America is not doing much. What's that looking like today? It's up 2%. I mean, this thing is having some pretty good movement here today, actually, being honest. This thing went from, it was kind of sideways in the pre-market at 650. And then, at around 830, when we got that CPI print, that started taking this up higher. Probably on the thought that, if we're getting rate cuts, this is going to bode well for some of these miners and mineral miners as well. So that sent this thing up right to exactly 7. And that's funny because I have a $7 horizontal line marked off, and it went right to that. I haven't even looked at this thing this morning. So $7 appears to be a pretty noticeable resistance area. Coming down to some of the highs of the pre-market right now, where the 65 EMA is. This could be a reversal spot here for Lithium Americas. But this is looking it's looking not bad to me today. This is, just had a really nice big move out of the gate here, probably on the CPI report and the rate cut sentiment. Then it's come back down, but I think this doesn't look too bad to me. I don't know what kind of price action we're going to get for the rest of the day, but Lithium America is certainly one you're going to want to keep an eye on if you believe, as I do, that lithium prices are going to rise over the next year?
13, this is one of the stocks that recently made a pretty violent move higher. You could throw quantum names in there. You could throw the drone names in there, and or some of them. The intraday chart looks the same. It's the exact same thing. It looks like it absolutely did run higher there on the CPI and then really start backing off. This is what LAC looks like. This is what Rigetti looks like. Very similar. This is what Ondas looks like. All of these things did pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, BTTC is still continuing to climb, just slowly.
Goldman Sachs with a nice move today. Rocket, that was a good move. iPower's moving. All right.
Looks like Beyond Meat might be finding some support. Matter of fact, this is down at a level from the pre-market yesterday, catching some support. I don't know if this is going to reverse and get back above 3, but it's looking like it's trying to turn around here.
I'm good on this one for today, honestly.
TMQ moving similar to LAC. They're probably going to, unless there's like some specific news about a specific, area, kind of like, how when that news of that road being built in Alaska only sent a couple of these stocks up, unless we get something like that, the TMQ and LAC and all the other mineral plays, they might end up trading similarly. VIVK recapturing its 200 EMA. So you penny players looking for something to do, VIVK might be the one for you.
You like that? DECK, this really needs to get back above, I think, 94. That was the support level here. Let me see if I can eyeball that for you. Yeah, 94. I've got it at maybe 94 3/4 here. But really, this 94 handle, it basically lost this here today. So it is bouncing, but you'd really want to see this bounce a little bit more for it to reclaim that support that got lost here today.
So we're getting up to a resistance area in RGTZ. This is the $14 area. We did get a little bit of a pull in the last candle, but we're starting to push higher in the current one that we're in. Approaching the 200 EMA, which is going to be at 1428. See if we can move through it or not. This one still looking like it's going to...
Sorry, which one, 13?
This is RGTZ.
RGTZ, got it.
How much is DEC affected by China tariffs? I'm trying to think if the one I'm thinking of is the one that has the exposure to China, Vietnam, Malaysia. Let me double check that for you. I don't think that's the one I'm thinking of, though. It might be something else.
I don't either. I feel like this was a happy hour conversation.
Yeah. Primarily in Asia, significant focus on Vietnam, China, the Philippines, and Cambodia. So all you got to do is look and see what the tariffs are on those countries, and you probably will have your answer there.
Penny stock was VIVK, by the way, envious.
Yes. Rigetti at the 200 EMA. What else is looking pretty good here? Looks like Critical Minerals lost it to BWAP. Lone Depot is at risk of losing its 65 EMA. Looks like, we're already past the lunch brunch time, where volume starts to leave the market at about 10:30. So probably going to see a lot of this until later on this afternoon. Kevin, you have a great rest of your Friday too, and an awesome weekend. Absolutely, have a good one.
Yeah, we're almost out of time here. Kev, take care of yourself. I'll tell you what, I am excited for the weekend. My Blackhawks got a win last night. Almost cashed that bet.
We're looking good, feeling good. IBM has to be the best BTFD so far this earnings season.
want me to bring that up?
Sure. I mean, IBM. I would like to see this come back in. I don't know if I'm going to get my wish because I used to own this.
You're right about the dip buy. This is a 30-point move, Jay. Damn.
Wow. Right down to the 50 and reversed. Wow. So now it's coming up to the all-time highs again. I guess the question is, do we break those all-time highs this time, or do we get a double top reversal? This
my Razer computer might finally be dying 13.
Completely unaffected by the government shutdown, apparently. IBM does get a good amount of money from the government.
Shady, the discussions in happy hour are there. Sometimes we're talking about like potential plays and things to look for the next day, but it's more of like an open forum to discuss thoughts on what's going on, market, macro, and otherwise. So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say it's just that. I would say we do a lot of like conceptual thinking about there.
Yeah, we try to look for different themes.
Yeah,
because that has really worked well for us. Where we're trying to get an idea of what kind of a space or a sector could end up doing really well. Last year, for me, we were bringing up the space, quantum. We already had the drone theme in play. The nuclear theme was already in play, but we
talked about longevity as a theme.
Yep.
We talked about technology. We talked about market pullbacks, Fed impact.
And now we're looking at batteries as being a potential theme going into next year. So we started looking at different types of stocks and their different component battery plays like graphite or graphene. So there's a lot of different stocks to look at when you get an idea of a theme that could really move in the upcoming session or in the upcoming quarter. And we just want to be well positioned for those so that we can capture the movement. And
the thing that I've noticed, 13, that it helps the most with is when we discuss a theme and a potential happenings from that theme. When we then see PRs from some of these smaller companies about it, we're like more easily able to diagnose that. 13, any closing words for the group here?
Folks, another wonderful week with y'all. I'm looking forward to coming back here on Monday. We'll do it all over again and have a great time. For now, Anne-Marie's coming up. Have a great time with her. She's going to teach you some options, and we'll get some premium from that. Take care, folks. See you Monday. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.
That sounds good. 13, why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of pants to the golf course?
Oh, wait. I think I know this. In case you got a hole in one.
You're too good, 13. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. There goes 13. On comes Anne-Marie Band. Anne-Marie, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. It's why I'm babysitting my mom's cat this weekend while she's on vacation, and it's interesting. I've got 2 cats and a bird here right now, and I'm doing my best to manage it. So,
how do the cats get along?
Well, it's hit or miss. My cat, Buddy, he is so friendly, and all he wants to do is play and meet Luna, the other cat, and the other cat has zero interest in that. She just wants to hiss at him, wants to swipe at him. So it's slow going. It's slow going, but they're not fighting.
You know, what I have to say is that I've noticed the pets of older folks a little bit snootier than the pets of younger folks, mostly because they have a measure of independence that younger ones don't. I notice this all the time because there are older women that I meet that have cats or dogs, and they're just not as jovial or friendly as the younger ones. Maybe it's because they don't spend a lot of time with lots of people or noise or whatever. Maybe it might be person-centric. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that Buddy is 1 in 100 million in terms of his personality. I am so blessed that I was able to adopt that guy. He's like a dog. It is he is so friendly. Okay. Anyway, Anne-Marie, what do we got here for today?
All right. So today I did a scan, and there are, let's see, as of now, there are 50 new all-time highs in the market today. 50. Of those 50, easily 3/4 of them are ETFs. 3/4 of them are ETFs. I find that to be very interesting. A few of the others, of course, are semiconductors and GE and anything associated with the war machine, CrowdStrike, those types of folks just continuing to move higher. We've got a stall out during the day. So I'm going to come with bullish suggestions, but what I would suggest is that you wait to see maybe about the 12:30-ish area, 1 o'clock, before you consider putting those positions in, because we could have a little bit of an afternoon stall fade, and then, Monday it's off to the races, because so many portfolio managers and hedge funds buy what they need to buy into the end of the month, and we're hitting about a 3-week period of massive seasonality bullish formation. So we will position ourselves on the bullish side in general. So that being said, we see a lot of motion. Let's take a look at the market watch again. We see tech, communications, financials, they're all lifting. Financials don't normally make as much under falling interest rates. They're able to do a lot more with their spreads as interest rates widen. But whatever the case is, financials are lifting. And then you can see it's completely risk on today, because staples are fading into that space. And a mixed bag with Tesla moving. So if you have any choices top of mind, happy to discuss them first, and then we can talk about some, trades that look like they're going to be pretty nice moves. They cost a little bit more, but we're moving in trend, in direction, in motion, and I'm following my seasonality tickers, and they should be giving us those rises into at least mid-November before we get a little wiggle.
Okay. Well, chat, you heard it. Anne-Marie is opening the floor to different tickers that you want to take a look at. I guess, Anne-Marie, we can just kind of wait on those unless you have one you want to start with.
Absolutely. I'll start with, I want to look back at Broadcom, because we did talk about Broadcom a couple of weeks back. And I said, hey, it's a long, and I gave the December butterfly event 370, 390, 410. We talked about it at 150. It's now worth 208. So it's about a 30% move so far. Not a bad idea to clear the decks. If you bought a couple of them, just cut that in half. What you want to do is make sure that you have an alert set for 390, because as it comes into that mid strike, you're going to get your peak profit space before it starts leaking over into the other edges. I took the back ratio, as many of you know. That's up about, 40 cents or something. So it's doing okay. And then the vertical, the put spread, the 280, 270 into March, that is already 30% up. So, nothing wrong with ringing the register on the 30% up move from that space. I also gave you something else, and I can't remember, but it's hitting the middle strike and it needs to be closed, and I can't remember what it is right now.
It wasn't Netflix, was it?
No, I think what we did with Netflix was two things. We did a vertical put spread on the cheap. This is still into December, so this one's really underwater as it hit that space. However, the price action suggests, let me show you something about Netflix. So Netflix is sitting in a very interesting space. All right. We talked about its potential upshot. Seasonality said towards the end of the year, it ought to have a run up into that 1300 space. We've come down into the put wall at 1100. And so that is a monthly put wall. So they will have a couple of days where they could go below and then pop above. But this is one to look at over the next little bit because it does rise seasonally into the end of the year in general. And these are 10-year and 5-year lines. So I like the dip space here. I don't think it's tragic at all. And having this in the space, right, that's completely underwater. It's a $250 risk event. That's done. That was completely wrong. But if we look into November, there's some pretty good pricing for spreads up in the 1,000 to 990 area. Gives you that. And then you can also take the, where are we? Where did I see a bunch of them moving? The 180 to, 1080, 1180, to 1185. And that gives you a credit as it moves up into the month. What I would do is just wait it out, give it a couple of days, 3-4 days, and then you can position easily into a cheap long call spread into the end of the year. That would be the easiest way to do this. And the strike event at 1200 should be a nothing event for this chart to do. It's 20 points wide, but we can see a ton of volume sitting there. $400 for a $2,000 move. You know, you could even put a calendar on there if you wanted to into December. So we have that. If we take was Tesla the one that no, because that one was at the call wall. Notice how it's rejecting that call wall though. It is bouncing into it, completely falling off, bouncing into it, completely falling off. $450 is going to be a very big deal for this chart to run up against. And the call wall right now is Master and Commander. So the dip will make a great buy zone. Put an alert for 410. As it gets to 410, you can see momentum drifting. As it comes into 410, you can go in there and say, you know what? I'm going to see when it comes into 410, these will be much cheaper. But you can say, I'm going to buy the 410 and sell a 420. That is going to be half that price when it comes in to 410. You can also look on the put side and you can see where the put wall is. It's at 400. You can take that put wall event and sell yourself the 400, 390. You can get right there in the sweet spot, and that will cost you a very little bit. You'll be able to collect a lot more premium on that put side. Just wait for the price. Patience is going to matter way more as a trader in this particular time because we have so much volatility on the horizon. Let price come to you and then strike. You're going to be able to collect a lot more on the put side. You're going to be able to get the call side event for much cheaper, and you'll be sitting in the catbird seat into that premium event. If you want to go ahead and set it out from an estimation, you can move the estimation in, and this one would be about 4 75 if you want to put it out there and give it a go. And this one should be about 325. And so you can put those out. You can easily see that your put spread is paying for that call event. So you literally are going to get it on the free, right? Holding that put spread in the way it's going to hold. So
Okay.
there's that.
Okay. Awesome. We do have a couple here. Joe wants to do NVTS. And then Amanda said she did a cool CoreWeave one. So maybe we can look at that.
Yeah.
And then as far as Netflix goes.
It's CrowdStrike. Hang on.
That's true. She's CrowdStrike probably needs maintaining if you have something on.
Maybe
I swear, you and Amanda have some type of mind meld going on right now. Very, very impressive to see.
It's not CrowdStrike. Daggone it. NV.
Oh.
I know.
I was hoping it was. I was hoping it was. Yes. I gave the joke a little early.
Yeah. NVST?
No. NVTS, Navitas Semiconductor. They have earnings in early November.
Okay. Let's take a look. All right. So these guys are a little bit new. They don't have any seasonality metrics on it. They just hit a weekly high, a 24-year weekly high. They just made that. Wow. If you're holding on from there, good on you. This is a base, 8 wide. And so if we go 1-to-1, 18 is about the high, right? That's how we do the metrics of the measured move. We go, hey, how's the width? It's up here. Now, it could be the longer the base, the higher in space. We could have something like that going. It's already moved a lot off of the high. So the question is, why did this candlestick move this far? It comes into my space of, in tech, we know we have to have semiconductors. We know we have to have some of these rare earth metals. We know we have to have copper. We know we need lithium. We know we need all kinds of things for the production of all of these things on the horizon. And so they're moving out of that Mag 7 per se and drifting into some of these others because we will need them, some of these performers. So this could be a nice move. My thought is, first of all, I would measure this with a Fibonacci. And the goal is, can it hold the 50% level? It's come in, it's held that 12. That ought to be the stop zone. 1088 is really the breakout zone of the giant range that's been, 20 years sitting. And so these guys might be having their moment in the sun. Here's something interesting that you can do with that. Let's say you really are thinking about, how can I acquire this stock on the cheap? I think it's going places, right? And you're willing maybe to pay a little bit more for it as it comes in to support. I would sell the 13 puts here, right? Let's say it doesn't come in, you're going to make $205, right? It's very thin volume, but it's on the move. Sell the 13 puts for $205. You get the stock for a discount of $10.95, which is just a few pennies above the base of 1088. Okay? It's also above that $12 area that I just posted that might be near-term support. So this is if you want to be put to the stock. If you also want to have an event that 20,000 calls to 6,000 puts. They're definitely on the move in here. If you want something that is unbounded, way into the future, you can look and say, you know what, I'm going to buy this high and I'm going to hold on to it. People are already doing that. I would never do that. Why? Because I don't like buying premium. I much prefer selling it. And so, again, if you want to get put to this stock or you want it to move in your general favor, you can go into November and buy yourself the 14 calls. Now, you might go, why do I want to do that? That puts my cost at $15. Yes. And you'll also get put to the stock at the end of the month at $14, irrespective of wherever it's at. But you expect a long hold here over the long haul. And so to balance that out, you can sell this month in the spread, you can sell the 18. And now what you have is you bought the stock at $1, but now you're only paying $12.15 for it. So if you're going to buy 100 shares, better to buy the 118 call spread so you get it for $2 cheaper. And when you do that and it continues to run, you are in really good shape. If it fades, your call takes care of that space. And when December rolls around, if it's doing well, you can just, if the call is going to expire worthless, then you roll the one strike into December's one strike and do it all over again. It is a very cheap way to get yourself involved in the stock at a cheaper price that it's actually going, and it's going to run almost just like you held the stock yourself. So there we have that.
That's wild. That's I would have never thought to do something like that. That's really cool. There you go, Joe. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
And really, if you do both of those, you're going to get it for $10 anyway, because you're selling the put. A lot of different ways to work on it. I got to tell you, the more you work with options, the more fascinating it is to see what strings you can pull to get yourself involved on the cheap. It's just fantastic.
That is really fantastic. Okay, let's try to do this core weave chart. Amanda said I did a cool core weave trade today. Sold the November 21st 150 call.
All right.
So November 21st 150 call, and bought the December 19th 150 call.
Okay, so she did a calendar spread.
And sold the November 100 put to pay for it.
I like it. I like those. And you sold the November put at 100?
November 100 put.
Okay. So this looks like a pretty interesting position. It does use a little bit of, you end up paying, obviously you probably paid a little bit less than that, your put, but it does use a little bit of margin. The calendar spread, the 100 put uses the margin. The calendar spread does not.
Mm-hmm.
The question to Amanda might be, what are you looking for in terms of removing the position? Is it a 10%? Is it a 20%? Are you holding it into the run that is potentially upside? We know CoreWeave is a bit of a shell game. The question is the following. CoreWeave does not look like AMD. Granted, not the same space, But the commentary about where portfolio managers are rotating is the question. They're rotating into the base semiconductors, right? And not the base semiconductors that were flying high, the base semiconductors that were plodding along, right? And so if I'm looking at CoreWeave, and I know this is probably a risky thing to say, but if I'm looking at CoreWeave, my thought would be I would go to, I want time on my side, because what I am seeing is the closer I am to expiration, the more volatility my options are experiencing, and I'm not in love with that. Not in love with that at all. So my thought would be, okay, I am going to look at the base of support. It's down here at about 88 or whatever. So I've got the 100 area, right? And I would do the, I'll do the 88. I would do a back ratio on the 100 puts. And I would say, hey, listen, I'm going to collect $185. It's going to cost me $1,300 of premium. If between January, here's the great thing. Tomorrow, we could wake up and CoreWeave could be $50. You'd freak out. You go, holy cow, I got a back ratio here. Whatever. But the great thing would be is that although this would move the way it would move, you can sell the 187.50 long put spread for $12.50, right? And then you can roll that 87.50 put into the future, way into the future, because vol is a monster here. And so notice this. If I have that 87.50 put right here, and I say, holy cow, that's deep in the money, I'm going to move it to, I don't know, June 26. The roll to that 87.50 is going to have a monster premium on it. Have a look. If I had to buy it back and roll it, I'm still going to get a premium. It might not be $7.70 because it's so far out of the money, but at least it's going to be $1. And I kick my can down the street. When you've got that short put and you're looking at this back ratio and you've got all that credit and you sell, you've got $185 already, right? And then you sell for $1,250 profit, and then you roll it again, you're just taking that short put, kicking it down the street, watching time and price and letting it be in your favor. You can, listen, I have had trades where I've been underwater in the short puts and I've rolled it out for 3 years, and they've ended up getting me back to positive because the short put has a natural bullish buyer, and unless the chart goes to zero, I'm in pretty good shape. Now, if it does go to zero, we got some probs, but in the meantime, I've been collecting premium.
I love this. Amanda says, I love CoreWeave. With the puts, you don't even need to be right to win. You just need more time, which is what you're talking about there.
Exactly. And for everybody strong in the market, good volume, good momentum, good trend, underlying strength. Selling the put and kicking the can down the street is a very easy way to keep yourself in the green and keep collecting revenue stream.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing, Amanda. That's cool. And Anne-Marie, thanks for taking a look at that. She did answer where you were asking earlier. She did say, I'm looking to break it up if needed. This was the exit plan that you had asked about earlier. I'm looking to break it up if needed. I feel like 100 is a good floor, and Paul Meeks likes CoreWeave all the way up to 120. She got it for a credit when she did that.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, Anne-Marie, we've got less than 2 minutes here. In fact, we've got 1 minute. So I don't know if we have enough time for another trade before we go over to Sandy.
Super quick, like.
Okay.
13 was talking about lithium. These guys, I think these guys are at, hang on 2 seconds. We'll go really fast. NXT, yes. Next tracker is something that is definitely worth watching. A bunch of folks have started on this one. We're going to keep an eye on this one, watching for pullbacks, but volume is increasing. Price actions moving to the upside. We'll keep ourselves on the lookout for that. Pullbacks will be buy zones, and I believe that they are also in the lithium space, energy space.
Okay, Anne-Marie, really good stuff. Look, next week is going to be a monster. We good for both Tuesday and Friday next week?
Yes, sir.
So many earnings coming. I suspect we're going to have some butterfly plays on those. Should be pretty good.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Anne-Marie, do me a favor. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll catch up with you next week, all right?
All right, thank you. You guys have fun with Sandy.
All right, I'm sure we will. You're the best, Anne-Marie. Take care. Have a good weekend. We'll check in with Anne-Marie next week. Now, Anne-Marie's departure leaves room for Sandy. Let's bring her on. Sandy, happy Friday. How you doing today? Muted. Everyone does it. It's totally fine.
Thank you. Doing well. How about you? I'm
doing pretty good. I'll be honest. I'm ready for the weekend. We got a big earnings week next week, so I'm going to max out on some sports this week and get ready for next week.
Excellent.
What do you got coming up for us?
Well, we're going to take a look at some option flow and talk about some automation, maybe get some automated trades on for next week.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. All right. Trading Made Simple with Sandy starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Benzinga, how are you doing today? Looking forward to the nice weekend here. So let's take a look at the markets. Boy, we got a nice pump from the news this morning. You could see that SPY is already breaking through its resistance. And QQQ, let's take a look at that, also breaking through resistance. So we have a lot going on in the markets based really on reports and news events. So this is looking really positive. We've had a lot of volatility lately, and I want to go through a couple stocks here that have a lot of option flow in it. So let's take a look at, as an example, AAL, American Airlines, looking at the 15 call. Look at this. We are on a daily. We're into resistance. Let's take a look at a weekly. Somebody's looking for a run here. Looks like we've been actually in consolidation on a weekly. And this option flow would suggest that they are looking for a break of resistance. Our area of resistance is right at 14. They're looking for a 15 call here. So they are looking for it to break and possibly go to some previous highs, all the way to 19, right? So what we could do on a weekly, we could actually utilize that 1404 as a resistance level and say, I'll wait until we actually get into this area, break through the area before we actually get into a trade. So even though we're seeing option flow, it's very important to take a look at the chart and then identify, right, what's looking good. So to me right now, what's looking really good is you got momentum crossing above the zero line. So this is of interest. We have basically institutional buying right now. So the institutions are running towards this stock. That's what momentum really indicates. But we do have a range that we've been in. And you can see that we were in this range on September 1st, and we're coming right back to it. If we can break that consolidation level at about 14, we can then see higher highs, right? So that's what we're looking for. That's what the institutions are looking for right now. You can see on a weekly, it's showing a high buy rate right now. And also on a daily, still looking good. So this actually looks pretty good, but our RSI on a daily is kind of getting high, and you can see where the last pivot high was at 1402. So if we basically stay within this channel, we may start working, right? It may get to this level and really start consolidating for the next move. Now, those calls on American Airlines were actually February 20 of 2026. So they are looking to stay in this trade for a little bit of time to make that work to get that call over to 15. So that would be a really nice chart to look at, is to say, hey, look, don't get into it too early, right? Right now, we want to actually break the previous high. So if we break 14, why don't we call it 1410? If we break the high of 1410, we're going long. And that's a real simple way to utilize institutional flow with automation, right? You could just set that trigger. How would we do that? Well, let's get over to the trade tab here, and you'll see that we have all of our dates. And here's February 20th right here. We're looking for a 15 call. So we could go right over here, and you could see that that 15 call is $1. Now, if we wanted to actually, I like to put all the rules up front, right? Because that's what the institutions are doing. They're actually, it's all algo trading with their rules all up front. And so I really like to teach this same exact way. So you would just say buy custom with an OCO bracket. Let's get over here. And then now we have our order up. So as we have this order, we're going to just go into our settings tab, and we are going to start filling out the tab, right? So you could see that if you didn't actually click below that little line under symbol, you wouldn't even know it was there. So just click and it'll automatically default to what chart you're on. Click again under method and automatically defaults on mark, which is fine. Now you can see our trigger. If we click trigger, the first one is less than or equal to, the second one is greater than or equal to. If you ever have a doubt, just look down here and you'll see. So the first one is less than. We're going for calls here. So we're going to go greater than or equal to. And now we're going to put in that threshold that we talked about, which is, let's see, 1410 is what we decided. We wanted to break the previous pivot high to show confirmation that we are going higher. And that is a way that you could just easily look at the chart, make an analysis, program your trade instead of just an alert, because as all those alerts come in, you get desensitized. And then all of a sudden you're in paralysis analysis, right? Which one are you going to do next? If you already just program it in, then it'll just follow your rules that you set up front. That's how easy this could be. So now that we have our condition set, this is the important part of the order form, because up top here is just all about option pricing. And you can do all of your work on option pricing basically here, right? The whole purpose of opening up this order is to actually work your conditions in. And so we just put in our conditions. When we break above 1410, I want to get into that long call. Now, what is the option price going to be when we break above the 1410? We don't know exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in, we want to be aggressive buyers, but we don't want to pay market prices. So think about that. There are actually a couple levels that you can identify of how aggressive do you want to get into your trade, right? Market is the fastest. If you buy market, you're going to get in right away, no matter what the price is, but you're going to pay. It's going to be very expensive, kind of like Nordstrom pricing, okay? Now, if you want to be aggressive and still have it be fast, you can use buy the ask. It basically is saying, hey, look, you're going to pay what the market is asking for. I'm not going to give you extra. I'm not going to pay you market prices, but I'm just going to give you what the market is asking for. And so by doing buy the ask, 00, put this good till cancel because you don't know when it's going to cancel. Now you have your order completely set. And then what is the third way you can do this? You could actually put mark right here. If you were to put mark right there, this would indicate that you want to get the best pricing. You have no guarantees whatsoever. It's the third slowest way to actually get your market, get your order, triggered, but it's really good pricing for you. So what you need there is like a lot of consolidation at that option price for it to actually click in. So just a couple things to take in consideration as you're thinking about how quickly you want to get in and out of your automations. For automation purposes, I really do like the buy the ask and sell the bid. And you get about 95% of your orders taken care of without any issue. And that's also to get in as well as out. All right, so we just saved that order. So now what is going to be our take profit level? Well, remember that institutional flow was showing that they're looking at the 15 call. Well, that 15 call could be your target. That could be your trigger. So what we want to do is just go into that gear settings icon again. And now we're going to say, hey, when AAL gets at or above 15, okay, tab out of that box. That is my trigger. That's when I want to exit this. Now I come up here. I don't know what the option price is going to be when American Airlines hits 15. So I'm going to say sell the bid. And you see how it has this 100? That means you're selling the bid plus $1. We don't want that. We want 00. Tab out and put good till cancel. And now you're good to go. So now you have your trigger already set. You've automated your buy and your sell with profit. What is going to be your stop loss? When you get to your stop loss, you don't need to go into the order form because everything that you can do with option pricing is right here on the front of your screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit trigger. So we have the opportunity to change these buttons. And you'll see it has plus or minus $1. Could you do that? Absolutely. Just remember $1 for each contract is $100. Okay. Keep that in mind. So you can actually limit your risk based on a dollar amount if you wanted to, or you could do it as a percentage. Clearly with the volatility that we had or have currently we have volatility, especially in Q4. Why? Because institutions are actually moving positions. They're actually getting ready to sell their losers so they can claim it on their expenses. And then also they are just moving sectors, right? Because each sector has basically, a better performance during different times of the year. And so Q4, as an example, has its own sectors like energy that does really well in Q4 and so forth. So I have a video on that. Check out my YouTube channel and you'll be able to see that. And it's Trading Made Simple with Sandra. So here you can say a negative 25%. And then you'll see that the programming is telling me, hey, you can't set this in yet. You have an error on your page. So actually your platform on Thinkorswim, and by the way, you could do this on IBKR as well, is telling you your program mistake. And what is time enforced? Time enforced is like, hey, look, either this is good till I cancel this order, or you could do day. And at the end of the day, this trade will just vanish if it doesn't get filled. So you want to make sure that these are all good till cancel. You can now confirm your dialog box. This is really important because sometimes people get like kind of fat fingered, when they're programming. And what ends up happening is they're making a mistake and they don't realize it. This is a really good way to just identify and read what you programmed to make sure that you're not having a mistake. So now remember, you can practice this, right, on a simulated platform, and it takes about 30 to 40 trades to really get confident in your programming. You're still a human and you'll still make mistakes, but don't worry about it. You'll make less the more that this goes on. That's why we always tell you to actually practice this on a simulated platform, get confident and consistent with your programming, then move to real capital when you're ready. So as you can see on this order form, we're saying buy this call when we get at or above 1410. That's my trigger. And then sell that call when we get to our target, which is at 15, or sell the call if we get to a negative 25% on the option price. And now we send that in, and now we are covered for that trade. Let's take a look at Goldman Sachs. A lot of money coming into Goldman Sachs. Let's take a look at the chart, see what we come up with. Goldman Sachs on a daily, breaking out of, right, consolidation. If you go into Thinkorswim, you'll find this indicator. This one is a little bit custom. However, the one in Thinkorswim works just as well. It's called Darbus. And what this is identifying on any time frame, it's identifying consolidation. Why is that important? Well, because for automators, it's great. It's a nice visual that you can see and say, hey, look, when we break out of our consolidation zone, I want to go for a long call. If we break to the upside, if we break to the downside, I want to go for the put, right? So it's a very simple way to start looking at maybe institutional flow, give you some ideas, go over to the chart, take a look. And why is consolidation also really nice for option traders? Because after consolidation means that there's going to be a really big move. It's either going to be accumulation or distribution. And that's really important for traders, especially retail traders, right? We don't have the inside scoop, but we can actually utilize tools like option flow to identify certain stocks that may be on the move. So this one actually is on the move today. So kind of missed the boat on that. Let's take a look at that. Goldman Sachs, 820 call for March of 2026. So they're actually looking for a pretty big move. What are they looking for? Look, guys, they're looking for the same thing that they saw on AAL, a break of consolidation going back up to the previous high. That's what they're looking for. Here is 8, one of the, always look at the round numbers as well as, what you see here on the chart. Could be very helpful to identify other areas where we've consolidated. And you could see my consolidation bands up here. So we're looking, isn't this right here resistance, right at this prior consolidation band? Yeah. So that can serve as we are right now at resistance on this. So you could actually say, hey, look, knowing that you just looked left on your chart, you could say, oh, wait a minute, a past area of consolidation support, which now is resistance, is right at 781.95. Since I missed this move, I don't want to be eager and get in, but I want it to go ahead and maybe break the next resistance. And we're at the next resistance. That's why you never want to get into a move. Don't get that FOMO. Because what will happen is you'll get in and then it'll all of a sudden start consolidating again or making a U-turn, going in the opposite direction. Your initial analysis is correct, but you just need your timing into that event to be more focused. And so on something like this, I would look at this and say, hey, look, since we're at resistance, the prior resistance of before, I would take probably like something, just go a little bit above it. And I call this basically your padding. So I'm padding that next level and saying, hey, if we get above 791.50, we can go for a long call on this. And what's our target? Our target is 820. They actually outline, right? They outline institutional flow, what the actual strike price is, what the expiration is, so you get a sense of what the institutions are looking for. If it's really far out, like leap action, right? A year out, and the market's just going nowhere, that's a good indication that the institutions are just parking money. They're just parking it. They kind of have a sense of where the market's going, and they're just kind of waiting for something. Could be reports, FOMC. It could be a number of things. And so that's how you can kind of identify. What's the other thing that we're looking for outside of breaking our consolidation band here? We're cresting over that zero line. That means that volume is coming in, right? Institutional flow is coming into Goldman Sachs. So this is a good one that you could also utilize. I just showed you on the last one how to automate this trade. So you can automate this one as well in the same manner. And I would just pad this little area right here to somewhere around here. You can make it just like 795, just a little higher than this area right here. You could even go 785 just to break that little area of consolidation, 785 to go to 820. So this looks good, and you got a lot of time on your side. However, this one's going to be expensive, right? We're looking at a $780 stock. Let's take a look and see what a March 20th call would look like. So we go over here, go to that 820, and you're looking at $4,010, right? When we look at those option prices, where you recognize that one option contract controls 100 shares of stock. So you take that 4010, multiply it by 100, and that's where you get how much this is, $4,000 to get into that call. What else could you do? You could go for a debit spread if you have spread authorization. Debit spreads allow us to take advantage of a move, especially when you're directional. You may think, oh, wait a minute, there's going to be some consolidation because we just broke through that. We're at resistance right now. We broke through consolidation. We're at resistance. What happens sometimes when you get at resistance before the next leg up? You either retreat a little bit or you go sideways for a while. So a debit spread could really be helpful in that. The other thing too is that it brings down the cost, guys. Look at this. So if I wanted to take a debit spread at the money, which is a 790, 800, you're looking at $660 versus the 4,000. Okay. So this is another way that you can utilize the type of vehicle that you're using. This is a trade vehicle, right? A long call and a long put, that's a trade vehicle. And by the way, you want to see all the trade vehicles, just come over here to this category and you can see all the different types of strategies. These are really just trade vehicles that you utilize to be able to profit from the marketplace. You have to have authorization, broker authorization for anything outside basically of single. But I actually think they're strengthening that. They're making it a little harder now just to get option buying. So be thoughtful of that when you're going into the broker for the first time and you're looking to open an account. They ask a lot of questions that are specifically designed to see where your education level is and your experience level in options trading. So I have an option video that's called Broker Authorization. And if you type that into my channel, you'll be able to review that. It has a lot of great tips and tricks to get through that not only application, but sometimes they'll even call you to interview you to give you your spread authorization, which is shocking because they didn't do this years ago. But I guess a lot of people are coming into the system really not having any knowledge whatsoever. So they want to make sure that you know something about options trading before they actually give you that authorization. All right. So that was Goldman Sachs. You could do a debit spread on this and you can automate it just like we did on the first example. Let's go to KWeb. KWeb was interesting because we had a lot of institutional flow for KWeb. Let's see, November 21. And let's take a look at the chart really quick. So in the chart, you can see on a daily that we've been at a support level here. You can see if I move this cursor, you can actually see the consolidation bands. So we're having, let's see, KWeb 42 call. So what this is saying, and we also have momentum cresting above the zero line. I do like that. We also have price breaking above the 20. I like that as well. So what we're doing is we can actually visually see the range that we're in. We have a lot of institutional buying into KWeb right now, and it's showing a 42 call. Where's 42? Right about here. So it's looking for a break, little bit of volume coming up on a daily, and now we might get up to about right here. So not all the way up to total resistance, but at least to this level. So it's looking for this little level, and you could utilize that as well. So let's take a look at what the cost is for that. Let's get over here to a single. You could see that a 42 call is at about 104. So that's pretty reasonable, right? I try to look at option contracts, and then based on my portfolio size, I'll buy that number of contracts. Usually 1 to 3% of your portfolio value is used. That's, by the way, industry standard, nothing secret there. So you want to kind of keep those guidelines if you want to stay in the game and really capitalize on your portfolio when you have winners, right? And it also makes then, if I get into KWeb and I'm getting into AAL, I can then identify how many contracts I need for AAL, which is going to be a lot more than the amount of contracts I get for KWeb. And so if KWeb ends up winning or AAL ends up winning and KWeb doesn't, then you can see how the portfolio is balanced. Where if you're just buying, one contract of each, one contract of KWeb or one contract of AAL is not comparable to one contract of Tesla, right? Or Goldman Sachs. And so this is another reason why people's portfolio, they don't see really any gain after a long time of trading because they're not thinking about like how the price of these products really affect your portfolio when you have winners and when you have losers. So think about that and utilize that little tip. But we were going to take a look at KWeb 42 call 1121. Let's go ahead and use that. Could we also take an at the money? Absolutely. You could take that 41 call right now. Oftentimes when you take the strike price of the target, you actually will pay less for it. So a lot of people really like doing that in comparison just because of costs, especially for a contract that might be out, several months. So as you can see, here is KWeb. And you can start programming your trade just like that with your buy order, buy to open, and your sell to close, sell to close. Now, this is called an OCO because it's one cancels the other out, right? So when one triggers, because you have two sell contracts, when one triggers, the other one is just automatically taken off of your platform, so you don't have to worry about it. And this is what makes it really easy to be able to manage several positions. If you've ever been in a position where you seem overwhelmed based on all the contracts you have, you're not putting stop losses in, you got to re-examine charts over and over and over again. You'll be doing that daily, even if you have like just 5 open positions. So you want to be real cognizant that if you do it all up front, everything is managed for you. It's a smarter way to trade. Automation is a smarter way to trade. You can research that and look at the studies that they've already have out with manual trading versus automated trading. That's why all the institutions do it. All right, let's take a look at another one. How about Open? This is relatively a cheap stock. A lot of option coming into Open. They're looking actually for a $10 strike price on this. So when you see that in the option pricing and they have the strike price, that's typically their target. So that's going to be a take profit level. And where is that? That's literally into resistance again. So as you can see, Open consolidating in this range, it actually just sees again, once again, you can see what the commonalities are in all of these option trades, right? You can see the commonality being a lot of volume going into these positions. We're on a daily chart. So on a daily chart, we got volume cresting over the 0 line. We hit support, broke it a little bit, and came right back. And when that happens, right, even though it breaks it here and comes back, you're back into this range again. We're already at the bottom of that range. Institutions are expecting this to go to 10. So this would be another nice play right here. And when can you get into this? You could see that we had a high today of 852. It's dropping right back down. So let's see here. What is that? 755. You can actually use this candle right here. You could actually use the high of this candle as a break to go for that long call if you're looking for a better position instead of just jumping into this right now as it's pulling back from today's high. You could say, hey, look, when we break today's high, I want to get back into this position because you're going to see a lot more momentum get in to the position to go a step higher. Remember, whenever you hit resistance or you start making profit, there's always going to be a little bit of a pullback. And you really don't know if that pullback is going to be severe or if it's just going to be a really light touch of support. And in this case, support is at 755. So as far as I'm concerned, this stock could go back down to 755 before it starts to rise up again. So you could use this candle as a gauge and say, if it breaks today's high, I'm going long. Or if it hits 755, I want to get in a position to for a long. And you could limit, right? You can limit your risk amount based on where that 20 EMA is. All right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope a couple of these stocks take a look at the charts, do some automation, and we'll see you next week.